Welcome back to the Voodoo podcast. It is March, and this year is moving by fast already. We are past the Valentine's Day haunts, the St. Patrick's Day haunts, and even Trans World East Coast Haunters Convention is coming up. And with that brings the Easter haunts, halfway to Halloween, Summerween, and MHC are all on the horizon. Although before we jump into all of that, I have a super creative and innovative guest joining me on the podcast today. She has one of the best home haunts and also one of the most hidden and somewhat obscure haunts. But she is a proud Chicago haunt builder, and I consider her to be a haunt neighbor as she is just up the road from me in Roselle. Her haunt is called Dead End Cemetery. Please welcome to the Voodoo podcast, Sherry Essany.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. How have you been doing? I know it's been a while since we've talked, and even though we stop by your haunt each year, sometimes you're not always out, so it's been even longer since I've gotten a chance to chat with you.
Yeah, things are going great. The haunt it's just been so fun to be out there. This last year we had such nice weather that I was out quite a bit, and it's great to be able to talk to the people that come and check it out, and it good feedback. It's just great. This past year was a little hectic though. We were having our house re-sided, all new windows and doors put in during setup.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so it was very, very stressful. But we were working with Feldco, which my husband works for, and they promised to be completed by our opening date, and they did. They were out, and they also sponsored a couple events for us in last year, which was great. But yeah, it was a little stressful having that going on during setup. Yeah, very, very stressful.
Despite your husband working for them, was that kind of an odd request for them? Like, hey, can you guys be out by Halloween? Because we do this whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes, it was a very odd request for them, and they loved it. They actually sent out a crew to film during our setup, and them redoing the house. So and then, like I said, they had sponsored a night where we gave away flashlights that had Felco's name on them, and so it was good. We worked together very well, but yeah, they've never ever been told that you have to be out for Halloween.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's awesome that they were giving out some trick or treat goodies as well on certain nights. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great.
When did you first start Dead End Cemetery, and what made you want to start despite being in sort of a tucked away location?
So I just love Halloween. So we were decorating, it was, like everyone, we started out with a few things. And, I would say we probably got started like in earnest about 2005. And we decided, every year we were just adding something. 2007 is when I believe Sleepy Hollow came out, and we were watching that, and there's that big scarecrow at the beginning with his arms up, and I asked my husband, I'm like, could we make that? And he's like, sure. And when I say we, I usually mean him. No, that's not true anymore. I'm just as involved as I used to be, or way more involved than I used to be. But we made that, and that was kind of the start of like every year we're going to make this bigger and better. And you're right. People do not drive by our house. That you have to know it's here to come see it. So a lot of years we would sit and I would count like, okay, so the Amazon driver saw us and the postman saw us, and I would count and be so excited if we were up to like 35. And now we get hundreds, on especially on weekend nights. So yeah, it was really Chicago Haunt Builders that helped that a lot. Getting on the list, allows everybody to come see it. And then, of course, we're on many other lists at this point, too, because our name's gotten out there a bit.
That is awesome. Yeah, your house is at the dead end of a short street, but basically nestled right next to the main road, which is Roselle Road. But the dead end doesn't allow for access straight from the main street. Otherwise, you'd be like that corner house right there off of Roselle. What
Yeah.
kind of challenges has that brought you, and of course, to your haunt over the years, other than, of course, the foot traffic, right?
Yeah, really, the traffic is the only thing that it's given us a problem. Having the dead end there, it gives it a really cool feel. It does feel like you might have stumbled across a cemetery you didn't mean to find, because it's just down at the dead end. We're surrounded by woods, so it just has a really good creepy feel back there for Halloween. So yeah, no, it's really worked to our advantage, and the dead end name came because we're at the dead end, so it just kind of worked out.
Yeah, yeah, self-explanatory on that one, right? But
Exactly.
despite some of that tricky navigation for those that might not be familiar, like you said, you have such a cool, unique, and unnerving space to work with, like the trees and the brush that separate you from that main road. I think, is there also like a little creek that runs through that space?
Yes, there is.
And it kind of gives off a little bit of a mysterious vibe and makes your mind run, and your eyes will play tricks on you. What have been some of that, the benefits to that to kind of set the scene?
it it's completely the creepy feel that like, and especially nights where we don't have music going, ironically that can be even creepier than the nights where we do play the music, and we do both. Uh so that's helpful. I guess one other problem being at the dead end is that we don't have a lot of place for people to park, and we don't have any place for people to turn around. So my neighbors, luckily, are lovely, and they were, when they moved in, I walked across the street and I was like, so we're the Halloween house, and they're like, we know, our daughters are so excited, they can't wait to see it. So that worked out great. But people are in their driveway all the time, and no matter what we put out, and ask people to park on the other street. That's probably one drawback, is that, there's not a lot of place to turn around back here, but it's worth it if you just walk. It's very short walk, like, I don't know, 50 feet, if that. So it's not far from the main road, but so that's another challenge. But as far as the atmosphere, I think the atmosphere is great. Our new siding is really dark, which is awesome. So that gives another creepy feeling to it. Um, but I love you can, we hide some things in the trees. And so sometimes people see them, sometimes they don't, or they'll be walking and then they'll jump because they'll have seen something that they didn't know was there. So I really like having, our location for that part of the haunt.
That's perfect. And what a great review for Feldco too, that the even the siding matches with the theme, right?
Yes, exactly. We didn't pick it for Halloween. We saw it, we were actually traveling in Iceland and we saw the dark siding and we really liked it. But it works really well with the haunt.
Iceland. Oh my gosh. How was that? You have family out there or just going out to visit?
No, Iceland was just a trip to visit. And yeah, but we do love to travel. So I have to try to arrange all of our travel so it doesn't interfere with haunt setup and haunt time. So I never get to go anywhere. Like, I can't go see the leaves in Maine during October. So one day I will, but right now, yeah, travel all has to be completed before September and can't start again until probably, well, after Christmas then for us. So
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, you're going back to your haunt. It kind of gives off of like, I don't know if you've ever been to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery,
yes.
like kind of that feel to it because it's the graveyard in the front and then that swamp and like the little creek in the back. And then most of the nights that we've been there, there's nobody else out there because it's such a quiet dead end of the street. So, it's very tucked away and as I said, kind of obscure. But you have so many staples in your haunt, such as Crixus, the big Grim
Yes.
Reaper. I think you have that amazing dragon too that was on the
Well, we have
driveway.
we have two. Well, we've had two. The one that was on the driveway that blew smoke out of his nose, big one, that one's been replaced to one that sits on a pedestal or on a column, I guess, and it also blows smoke. So yeah, that's, I love my dragon. The I always have to decide. People always ask, "What's your favorite prop?" And it's like asking me to choose between my kids, but I'm gonna probably say that my favorite is probably our witch's hut, which has
Oh,
the automate or a movie playing in the witch's hut. That's where our witch is, and I really like that. We call her Groony. We named her after Dan from Chicago Haunt Builders in honor of Dan Grinnell. So yeah, so we I love my witch, but I also really like my dragon. Those have always been my favorites.
Those are very cool, and both the old dragon and now the witch's hut are such lifelike or life-size creations. Where are you storing all of it? The classic haunters question.
Exactly. So, probably, I don't know now, 10 years ago or so, we had to have a new garage built. So we made that extra tall, extra long, extra big. And so most everything goes up on top, of the garage. I say most everything, but these days, every year, it seems like a few more are staying down and aren't making it up there. And we also have a shed in the back that for things that can come apart, like our big hearse, which is one of our staples that is also very well known. It's huge, but we made that so we can unscrew it every year, and so it comes down in pieces, and that goes into the shed. So yeah, their storage is, that we're starting to have to say, I don't know if we could do that, because where are we going to put it? We always do it, but we but we, have to give it some thought.
Yeah, pretty soon we all get there. It's the and I'm sure you're further along than we are, but it's the every single one of your ghouls is in the back of the garage just staring at you throughout the whole rest of the year because you didn't take it down and it's just tucked
Absolutely.
away. Yeah.
Absolutely. We actually hang all of our skeletons on the side of our garage. And our granddaughters love it. They are, they name them, they put princess things on them or whatever. So they're out year round, all of our skeletons. And yeah, they're always staring at us. And then some of the bigger props are in the back. So yeah, we see Halloween year round. Inside, though, we don't. We're not one of those people that does Halloween inside year round. We pretty much keep it to the outside. I used to decorate a lot inside, but the outside's just become so much that we don't even decorate at Halloween inside very much.
I get that. Yeah, with us, it gets hectic inside as well too. So even if you tried to decorate, it's going to get knocked all around, and we've got actors running in and out. So who knows if it'll stay on the table by the end of the month. So I get that. Yeah, you want to have the house a little bit more of a house feel when you step inside too.
Yes,
So I get
exactly.
that. You were talking about some of those bigger props, and you mentioned the one is the hearse. It's the centerpiece really that the visitors can see as soon as they turn onto that street because it's parked right at that dead end. It's the skeleton drawn hearse. Tell me a little bit more about that and the skeleton horse-drawn hearse, I should say, and tell me a little bit about that and then the history of it being in your haunt.
Um, so we had actually back in the day, I don't go very often anymore, but we were at Spirit Halloween and they had a big hearse. And like I always do, hey, hun, can we make that? And he said, no. Do you know how big that is? There's no way we're going to make that. And I'm like, but it would look cool. It would be great at the end of the street. That will draw people down because of where we're at. I wanted anybody that would see it, that it would bring people in. And he said no. And we do have a hearse, as you can tell. So yeah, it was just, we decided we were going to make it ourselves. Theirs was like $2,500 or something crazy. So we just got all the pieces and put it together and designed it the way we wanted it. And the front where the skeleton hearse driver sits, we call him Willie. He that was a piece off of our old swing set. So we just find different pieces. We keep a lot of garbage pieces, and they always work out great in the hunt. So yeah, but that's just been we've had people come by and say they have to have their picture taken in front of it every year. They had, one year somebody told us that their mom always comes and she's going to be so disappointed because she couldn't make it. So they had to take their picture in front of it. And so, yeah, it is kind of what I think people think of the most of our, when they talk about our hunt, it's probably that piece.
Well, that's not the biggest piece that you have. You also have the 12-foot skelly on part of your roof. Um, of course, the 12-foot Home Depot skeletons were all the rage, but putting it on your roof, that's another level. That's another step. What is it like to get him up there and, of course, down as well?
So it's just my husband and I that set up the whole hunt. We rarely have any help, but we do need help getting the skelly up on the roof. So our son comes and helps put him up on that roof. It's a chore. The biggest thing was, he's up high and you don't want him to blow over. So it was creating a rig to strap him to our fireplace, which is a huge fireplace. So we have to get it wrapped all the way around the fireplace so that he will stay up there. We also got him one of the gigantic spiders that he could walk that's up on the roof too. So those are, yeah, that's fun. But getting him up there, yeah, it's big, but it does have a presence.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it's like a flat roof on the side of is that like a built-on section to your house? Like
Yeah, it's we call it the sunroom, but yeah, it's just got kind of very slanted, very so it stays up there really well. We have had no problems. We haven't had him fall over or anything. So the the spider, the so Home Depot has had two versions of their big spider, and the
yeah.
first version is amazing, and that is the one that's in our yard. The second version is the one we put up on the roof um, with the skeleton, and that one didn't hold together quite as well. So I think next year we will have a new spider for him to walk. We call him
Awesome.
Tiny. We do have names for all of our items.
All
All of our,
right.
yeah, we have to name them so we can say, hey, should Edith go here? And, where's Tiny? That kind of stuff. So yeah, we try to name almost everything has a name.
That's awesome. Yeah, you don't want Tiny coming crashing down because you'll need a lot more than just new siding and windows, right?
Exactly, exactly. And while they do roofing as well, we don't need them to come back anytime soon.
No, no, that's for sure. You also have a number of Chicago haunt builder builds in your yard. We've heard it several times on this podcast, and I have still yet to make it out to one, although I do have a couple of haunt builders props myself. But how beneficial is it being a Chicago haunt builder and especially getting a chance to partake in some of those builds?
It's fabulous, especially at the beginning when we joined. So I think we met Jim Slinker at Chicago Frights back in, gosh, I think that was 2014 maybe. And so early on, like we weren't building a lot. I mean, we'd made the hearse and we were capable of doing some things, but we didn't know all the mechanisms the way that we wanted to, or the way we do even now. So going to those builds was so beneficial because if you don't know it, somebody there does, and they are more than happy to share. That's the best thing about the group, which I'm sure you've heard a billion times as well, is that everybody is friendly, helpful. They are happy to share what they know, their knowledge. So going to those builds it's besides being great fun, there's nothing like being, on the Slankers driveway in, April with 40 caskets out there, I mean, that's just fun. So yeah, we've enjoyed doing those, quite a bit. We haven't been as much lately, I think, because, we kind of know all of them and, we're seeing a few repeats and, we have that. But yeah, we enjoy the builds a lot.
Yeah, it never gets old hearing what the group is like and how awesome it is. And you mentioned earlier about being on the list and how beneficial it is to get foot traffic. I guess the only thing I hadn't heard of is this Jim Slanker guy you talk about. I don't know who that is really.
No, nobody
No.
knows him. He's just a guy that we met.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we were in the group pretty early on. So yeah, well, one day maybe you can meet Jim.
Yeah. That would be nice. Yeah, maybe get
Yeah,
to talk to him.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's great because when I was young, and I've told this story countless times on the podcast, is my dad and I always used to do the south side of Chicago houses. We were in Westchester, so we were a little bit closer to those, but there was a contingency of houses far north but I felt like even when I moved here to Schaumburg, like there wasn't a whole lot here in this area. So for you guys to have started Haunt Builders and built it so much from you right around the block in Roselle and Jim and Carol Stream, I mean, it started to populate this area. And then, of course, now we have Slingerland Slaughterhouse around the block, which I'm pretty sure Steve and them always decorated. I'm not quite sure when they officially joined Haunt Builders, but I had always heard about, oh, yeah, there's this house in Schaumburg. Now there's like 4 or 5 houses in Schaumburg. There's so
Yeah,
many of us out here, and it's great to have such a network.
it's great. It's amazing when you look at that map and see all of the haunts. It's mind blowing. And when I tell people, "Oh, make sure you get the list. You scan here and you can," they pull it up and they're like, "Are you kidding?" And I'm like, "No, there are that many of us out there that are crazy." If you ask me, I mean, we have to have a little crazy to be as into it as we are.
Especially if you're my generation, and I think we were like kind of conditioned to collect everything in a certain set, like all the McDonald's toys or whatever. And so now you look at this list, and you're like, okay, yeah, I went to the house around the block, and then you see 500 more bullet points on a map or on a spreadsheet, and you're like, well, I got to go hit them all now. Like this is outrageous. This is crazy. So
Exactly. It would be very tough to hit them all.
we're inching away every single year. But
I
the
know
funny
you
thing
get there.
is
You've been to a lot, that's for
yeah,
sure.
there's always though the ones that they don't do it the next year, so maybe we missed out on somebody, or we plan on going to certain ones that we hadn't seen the next year, and then like 10 more pop up in a location we were already going, and it's like, oh, it's pulling us in every single different direction during October.
Yeah, for
So
sure. It's so many and so many wonderful, amazing displays. One of the things that I like when you mentioned the builds is not only the builds, a lot of us have the same things from the builds. A lot of us have the 12-foot skellies. A lot of it, we do buy a lot of the same items, but they all look so different how they're displayed in each person's yard. So yeah, you might say, oh, there's a 12-foot skelly, but that one's on the roof. Or it's just nice you can have all those same things and just display them in a completely different way. And it still will draw your attention and get you to want to come and see all of the different houses.
part of it is because of the fact that each house is a different environment, and we talked about the uniqueness of your location, and it's about using the space that you're in, but part of that is the creativity of the haunter as well, and knowing how to use something differently or having the vision to think differently about a prop. And that was also the case when I think it was you who we had spoke to, and we learned about beef netting cobwebs. You have such an amazing walkthrough up to your front door draped with those spider webs, which kind of nicely bridge the house with the graveyard itself. So tell me a little bit more about what you have going on, like directly in front of your front door in that amazing haunt space.
So yeah, we have our big spider, and then the spider's webs go up behind the spider, up to the roof, up, so that people can walk underneath the spider web to get to the front door. And you've got quite a difference of people going, oh, are we even allowed to go up there? And then you have those that even try to open our front door in the middle of October. And I'm not kidding, that has happened. Because I don't know if they think we're part of the haunt or what. But so yeah, right in front is the spider webs. And it just gives a nice spooky feel to have to walk underneath them. For Halloween, during COVID, we made a chute that would send the candy down. And then COVID was over, so we weren't going to use it. And all the kids asked about it. They all wanted us to use the chute. So we used the chute. So we send it from the front door down past the step, so they don't have to come up, because the front porch is not real big, and so you get a big crowd up there. It can be a little tight. So they can grab their candy right from the bottom, and they get to pick which candies they want. We send it down the chute for them. So yeah, but I do really like the beef netting look. From inside, we have some blue lights on them, and it just kind of almost feels like we're underwater when we look out to see the netting out there. I love the look of the beef netting if you can get it really, really thin. The thinner you can get those, cut, the better it looks, the more natural it looks. And of course, my first year was a little bigger, and then every year I keep cutting it, and I've used the same beef netting for probably 6, 7 years now. So yeah, it's a great prop, great thing to add.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's it's what we've incorporated now into our canopy out in front. We don't go super thin, although now that you bring that up, I'm wondering if we could go thinner. But we do project, so that we have like a strobe light that goes with the music. So projecting it is nicer when there's a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
uh, face to it. But if we could get it thinner to look a little bit more like cobwebs, that's super cool. And yeah, the people are gonna have to go back and listen to the part where you don't decorate the inside of your house so that they know not to open the front door and walk right in like it's a haunted house.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny. I just am surprised that anyone would even think to do it, but I don't know. It's not things don't always surprise me, but that one did.
That's like all of those rules that you see, like a sign for something that say, like I'll when I was a kid, I had bought a pair of shin guards for soccer that in the package it said do not put in the microwave, and you're sitting there going, what? Why would you ever put these in the microwave? Well, somebody somewhere has done that. So then they had to write
Exactly.
it in there. So you're gonna have to put a sign. Don't open the front door, actually.
I'm
Don't come inside.
probably going to make something creepy that will say stay out. We've added a fence to keep people out of the yard, and we've, changed the way it's set up so it really keeps people out, because the slightest little bit seems to be an invitation to some people to go ahead and our big fear is that, we have cords and, electrical cords running everywhere. I just don't want somebody to trip and get hurt. So, we've worked for years to always find the right solution that doesn't take away from the ambiance. We don't want it to be all these signs that say, don't do this and don't touch this. We just want it to feel natural, but make a natural barrier that says, this is really where you should stop. I thought the front door did that, but apparently not. So we will work on that.
Yeah, extra siding from Felco on the door to make
I
sure it
like
stays
it.
closed.
That's
Yeah.
what we'll have to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, you used to have an even closer haunt neighbor than us here at Voodoo. Across the Roselle Road that we talked about earlier was Trilogy of Terror. We here at Voodoo took inspiration from their tent setup, but they had three tents in front of their house, and each one had a different theme. And I kind of fell in love with that idea, which was what helped us with our walkthrough. But um, I know they, you know, kind of stopped doing theirs. Did you ever get a? Yeah, I think you had told me that you got a chance to speak with them and talk to them as to why they stopped doing theirs.
Yeah, I think unfortunately they had trouble with the village, is what I was told. We are unincorporated Roselle. They were in the incorporated side of Roselle. And I believe that their tents were considered structures, and therefore that was a problem. They didn't mind them having the haunt, they minded the tents. So they had to take that down, unfortunately, because it was a great haunt. We certainly went there too and enjoyed it, but that's always a shame. But I'm just glad we're in unincorporated because they don't bother us out here. Although we don't have anything that anybody goes into, but we do have the structures like the hearse and Crixus's tomb or whatever. So we do have those built out there, but nobody enters them.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah. Ours, we never really got slapped on the wrist or anything for ours, and I mean maybe because we're tucked away in a cul-de-sac, but we have sidewalks. We're in incorporated Schaumburg, so I guess maybe just different zone or different rules for different communities and whatnot, but or just maybe they never crack down on us. If the village is listening, please still don't, because
please don't. Well,
we,
and it
we
could
don't.
be that if they did it again, it would be fine, a different person. You never know, it's, or maybe somebody complained. I've heard that as well, that people complained. So that's why I'm very thankful for my neighbors that are wonderful on either side, because they do not complain. They enjoy it. So when the new neighbors moved in, like I said, I went and introduced myself because I was nervous, because that is, you hear those stories all the time about people who have to stop because of a neighbor. And I just was very worried about that. And we got lucky a second time.
Yeah, that and HOAs. I know those are big around the haunt world as well. Luckily, we don't have those either. But yeah, I mean, we've gone away from tents and more of just the actual structure. But in some ways, I wonder if that would, maybe warrant a little bit more. I mean, we know we make it safe, but I don't know if the village would like to come out and inspect as well. Be my
They don't
guest,
need
but
to. We're not throwing that out there.
yeah, exactly.
You do
So.
it very well. We're going to leave it alone.
And as long as your neighbors, the frogs in the creek, don't mind,
Exactly.
they can keep their
Exactly.
ribbits to themselves.
No, they can rib it because that's another creepy factor.
Yeah, we've noticed that on the nights that you said that you don't have any music out there, that creek. I mean, there's just a couple of little water trickling sounds. You hear a couple crickets, you hear a couple frogs, and
Yeah.
you all of a sudden you hear a stick or a branch break, and you're like, oh, what is going on?
What was that?
Yeah.
Um, it's funny you say that because we had a family that they didn't tell us about it until the following year, but they actually recorded a movie in our front yard, in our haunt. If you look at the movie, they mix it with some of the Slankers haunt of
Oh,
Canyon Trail. So there's a little bit of them in there as well. But they filmed it, and it's all because it was quiet and spooky, and we didn't have the music on. They put their own music to the movie, but it was really well done. It was really cool, very well done.
interesting. I don't know if Jim's ever told me about that. That's pretty neat.
I
I'm
know.
sure, with his gigantic haunt, somebody somewhere has done some kind of movie thing with him, but I don't know if he's ever advertised on it. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know that they told us about it the next year and then sent me the link. And while I was watching, I'm like, oh, it's not just us, that's the Slankers. I know they're haunts. So I let Jim know. So he definitely knows, but it's probably one of the small things compared to what they have with the haunt their size.
That's fair. That's fair. You're very close with Jim. Do you have any funny stories about him that maybe the public doesn't know about?
Oh, hmm. No, I can't think of something right now. I really can't. He's great. I mean, all of them, him, Dawn. I just the group is great, and we work together. Uh, I help get the door prizes for the shindig every year. So we're working together on those quite a bit. But no, for the most part, um, I don't have any big stories or none that I can think of. No,
He's
I
so
just work
out
really
there
together.
that I mean, even then, it's no sweat off his back, I guess, if something. But you'll get away with it this time, Jim. We won't get you on that one.
Yes, I don't, yeah, I don't think I have any good stories. I might think of one. If so, I'll pop back in.
Well, you mentioned helping out with the door prizes for Shindig. Tell me a little bit about what goes into that, and your side of all that work that goes into that. I can't imagine.
So Jim asked me a number of years ago, I don't even know how many years, and I said, sure. And that year I was able to get, I think, two or three of the video packages where they gave us the projector and the movies and stuff. And Jim looked at me and he's like, that was you will never live this down. Every year it's going to have to get bigger. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it became a big deal. I mean, we get thousands of dollars worth of door prizes. It is crazy. Chad a couple years ago volunteered to help because it has just gotten so big that he's also trying to get those door prizes. We have some amazing vendors that you know donate every year, and some just large items, and Techie Toys every year gives thousands of dollars worth of donations. So we spend over an hour at every shindig just giving away the prizes.
Yeah,
And we try to move pretty quickly because it's a lot, but it's fun. It's a lot of work, but again, with the great repeat donations, it's definitely um, it's it's worth doing. I enjoy doing it every year.
I know you said you had missed this year's shindig, but I think that raffle went close to almost 2 hours. I mean, it was just prize after prize. And you mentioned Techie. We were one of the ones that came away with one of the giant arches. So I
Nice.
was super excited for that. And then I wasn't paying attention later on in the night when one of our other numbers was called. And I got so excited. I went up there and I hadn't heard what the prize was that was announced, and it turned out to be earrings. And I was like, oh, well, this is going to some of the girls at the table that were sitting. Yeah,
And
so
and that has been one of our challenges is, some people get a t-shirt, some people get an arch, and it's like how there's really no good way to do it. That's why it's called a door prize. And sometimes you get this and sometimes you get that. So yeah, but you want to get all of the things. I donated personally this year because I now make I have a laser, so I make things on slate. So I made a bunch of slate coasters and I do wood stuff. So I donated a bunch of items myself. But yeah, it's just amazing all the different things that people make and donate. All the haunt builders, the Chicago haunt builders are always donating to the Chicago haunt builders door prizes because it's just fun to see other people win, what you have, what you make, and that they'll have a use for it somewhere.
absolutely. Yeah, it's been fun going to those and always getting a chance. I'm pretty much, I mean, the group is growing so big, exponentially quickly as well. So it's tough to get everybody a prize too. But I think in previous years it was if you attend, you're walking away with at least something because there was a prize for everybody. Now, I mean, to be able to keep up with the numbers is just unimaginable. But I would say probably 90 to 95% of people that go to the shindig are still walking away with something, big or small. I think everybody's just
Exactly.
happy to have something to call theirs at the end of the night, which is
You
really
can
nice.
always get a Fright Props catalog
Yeah,
because
that's true.
we always
We might be short on those. I don't know if we have anymore. Yeah.
actually, I do think they've stopped sending them as much as they used to because now everybody just orders online.
Yeah, that's probably true. But they're always a big box of them at the very
There is
front that
always,
Jim is always pushing. So
yes,
yeah.
it's kind of that running joke that Fright Props drink. You gotta have your drink anytime someone brings it up. So, yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, now to jump into a segment that I like to call Voodoo Personalities. This is sponsored by Voodoo on Vassar. There we are.
Nice.
So we'll dive into a little bit more of your personal life. I've seen that you are quite the family lady from your Facebook. Are the kids able to enjoy the haunt and the holiday by you? I know you said during the off season they're playing around with the skeletons in the garage, but are they currently at the haunt with you throughout October?
So, our kids never cared about it at all. They never helped. They never did anything. Now my son helps with the skelly, but the grandkids have all grown to love it. Unfortunately, three of the grandkids live in Connecticut now, which is closer than Sweden, which is where they lived for a while. But
Oh
they
wow.
so they don't get to see it as much. But the two local grandkids are here all October. They spend a lot of their Fridays and Saturday nights. I like to hand out small pieces of candy all, a Friday and Saturday night, even before Halloween. And they love to be handing out candy to people. And my oldest granddaughter that lives here loves to dress up and just kind of walk around and be spooky. We don't have actors like you, but she loves that, just that spooky being, a little creepy there. We have a ghost that we fly, and one of our traditions is after the season, when the ghost is down, we fly their stuffed animals
There you
around
go.
the yard, and they just think that's super fun. They bring a stuffed animal and watch it fly across our yard. So yeah, so the grandkids definitely enjoy it, and I
That's
think the kids enjoy it now, being able to view it and bring their friends and tell, or they'll be outside and they'll see somebody and they'll be like, oh, hey, oh, this is my parents' house. And it's like, oh, wow. So yeah, they like it now, but they really were never into it growing up, which always frustrated me.
well, what are you and the family doing most of the time? Of course, just spending together. spending time together outside of the holiday? Are they coming over to grandma's house for baking cookies and dinners and stuff like that?
Yep, whatever we can. I would say our favorite thing to do together is travel. We've traveled all over with grandkids living in Sweden. We used to go there or meet them in Ireland or Norway, or we've done a lot of travel. This summer we're all going to meet again in Florida. We like to get the whole group together when possible. We're big Cubs fans, so like to hit a Cubs game when we can. We used to be season ticket holders, but actually the year we must have been, something we didn't talk about, which is we used to have that trailer, the zombie trailer. I don't know if you ever got to see our zombie trailer.
No, I don't think I
But
did.
okay, well, our zombie trailer, we were running it the day the Cubs got into the World Series. And it was kind of frustrating because we couldn't watch the games, because we were out running the zombie trailer. So the zombie trailer about, I think it was 2015, we bought a 20-foot trailer and had 12 pneumatic zombies put in it, and it was a laser shooting game. And we would take it to fairs and festivals and brought it to one of our Chicago haunt builders picnics one time. And everybody could just, you shoot at the zombies, and it just got to be a lot because, the weekends and everything. So we sold it right before COVID, not on purpose. Obviously, we didn't know COVID was coming, but I think it was March of 2020 that we ended up getting a buyer for it. So we had it for about 5 years, but so that was fun. But that's something else that the grandkids love doing with us is, being able to just go outside and shoot zombies. It's kind of a interesting thing for a 3 or 4 year old to say they like to do, but that's how our family runs. So
That is awesome. I think I've only had 1 or 2 years where I've worried about my White Sox conflicting with haunt season because they don't typically play baseball in October. So,
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. Well, you mentioned you started in like 2005. I was still going to see all the haunts as a little kid, but I was not. I was focused on my first year of baseball, and then all of a sudden my team wins. So how do you teach a kid patience, right? So now it's been doldrums ever since then, and we had that one tiny year where I canceled one build with myself and my team because I went to the White Sox. Oh, actually no, because it was a day game. So I think I just pushed the build back to later on in the day. And then sure enough, they got eliminated. And I said, well, that opens up our calendar for the rest of October.
Yeah,
But no,
we
it is.
don't run into it very often either. I mean, let's face it, we're both Chicago baseball fans. It's
Yep,
not a
yep.
big issue, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, I've always talked about with now myself going into sports broadcasting. I mean, it's such a busy month. Even if your teams like here in Chicago aren't in it, we're still baseball fans, right? So we're still tuning in to see who wins the World Series and watch some incredible skill on display. But then at the same time, hockey season's starting, and then
Yes.
basketball season's right around the corner. It's like, oh my goodness, like, how am I going to fit in haunt schedule in here as well? So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
you're gonna
crazy.
have to get severed. And like
Yeah.
there you go, and have two personalities, and one go to the game and one do the haunt.
Yeah, I'm gonna start cloning myself in the back here. We got a cloning machine. Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. Works perfect. Works perfect.
But that's cool that you guys had that zombie trailer, and I never got a chance to see it. That would have been something neat. No inclination to bring that back though, huh?
Yeah, probably not.
A lot of work.
Maybe, yeah, it was a lot of work. I was thinking maybe when for retirement, but now I'm doing the laser stuff and that's going really well. And so I'm really enjoying making all sorts of things. Last year, one of those nights Felco was out here. I put out some of the stuff I make on the laser, and it was surprised at how quick, that went. People really love the holiday. My bestseller is still my coasters of Jack Skellington.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
those are the best sellers that I have because everybody loves that haunt feel, and that's one that people like year round. So
It's such an iconic character too. I mean, it goes hand in hand with everything
Absolutely.
Halloween. And of course, for your demographic, you probably have a lot of families coming through, and their kids probably love Jack Skellington and the movies and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The laser stuff is its own work in and of itself. So that's a neat addition. But I've
Yeah.
seen a couple of like the zombie shooting things done here and there. Even our co-host on the podcast, Matt Nossett, he had like this big blow up, like 20 foot, and you could like I think he did it with like Nerf guns, but you could go in and shoot the live actors or the zombies or whatever. That was such a hassle. He was like, I only am doing it on Halloween, or like if Halloween fell on a weekend, maybe like the Friday, Saturdays. So it's a lot of extra work.
And then the problem is the time it's best to have the zombie trailer out is Halloween. It's October. Well,
Right.
we have a few other things to do in October, with our hunt. So it was just too much, like we just had to pick one, and we felt like our home hunt was more important to us at the time than the zombie trailer. So
Yeah. Now you said traveling. I know you have family out in Connecticut that used to be in Sweden. You're heading to, did you say Iceland, was it?
no, we've already been to Iceland. We're the only trip we have planned right now is Florida, but we will probably also be going to Oahu next January. It's the only Hawaiian island I haven't been to, so
Uh,
I want to do that one. That'll probably be in January, though, when we can get out of the cold and yuck here, go
yeah,
somewhere warm. But yeah,
yeah, I
the
was gonna
summer
say.
is just Florida, but it's Florida. We're going to Cape Coral, and we have a house that has, uh, a pinball machine and a ping pong table and a pool table and basketball and all of that. So it'll be good with the kids and just all get together and spend time together.
Well, fun. That sounds enjoyable, especially the whole getting out of the cold part. That January here in Chicago is the toughest time of the year, so definitely go to a hot spot destination. So,
Yes, I seem to like hotspot destinations, although Iceland was stunning. Um, but we went in the summer, so it wasn't Iceland. It was
right.
just,
Well,
beautiful
and
waterfalls.
well, and Iceland is all green, and Greenland is all ice. So somebody screwed
Exactly.
up there, but no, that's
Ex
pretty cool. That's got to be beautiful out there.
yes, it was very pretty. Very
Cool,
pretty.
cool. All right, we'll jump out of the personalities segment now, but we'll still talk about your little community there. You have a decent amount of the neighborhood kids, despite being at the dead end. Are they? I know you kind of mentioned the ones that interact with your kids and find those small little connections, but are they able to enjoy it just as much? And are you doing anything special other than that shoot and maybe the laser imprinted stuff for trick-or-treaters on Halloween?
Um, for Halloween, we're full-size candy bars, so that's really our,
That's what I was
main.
looking for.
Yeah,
All
you got
right.
to have the full-size candy bar. That's why the little candy goes the rest of the month. So we do the full-size candy. We are definitely, known in the neighborhood. We've had one person did their birthday party. One girl had her birthday party, and they all came down to the haunt. That was part of her birthday party, was to come and see our place. We have some neighbors that have like a wagon that not a little wagon, like they tow it behind like a golf cart or something.
Oh,
And every year they bring probably 16, 20 people over to, check out the haunt. We've had baseball teams stop by all together to look at it. So a lot of connection, with the people in the neighborhood. And, you keep hearing, oh, I used to come here when I was little, and now I'm bringing my kids. And it's like, oh, wow, okay, getting a little old, but it's true. We're at that point where, the kids, if we started 20 years ago, people who used to see it then are bringing their own kids now. So it's fun, and it's a great way to get to know your neighbors. And, talk to people that we may not talk to,
yeah.
most of the year because they live way down the street, but they always come up during Halloween.
That is for sure. That is definitely the case, including us. I mean, we're not immediate neighbors, but we came and spoke to you for the first time. You were actually the first to tell me about Midwest Haunters Convention and Transworld. I think even back when MHC was at the convention center here in Schaumburg, and was Transworld in Rosemont for a while, I think you were saying as well.
It
What?
was at some point, I don't remember which years, but yes, it had been up here, I believe, just once.
Yeah, it could have been just the one time because I know
Yeah.
mostly they're down in St. Louis, but I know even MHC was a little closer to home for us. What was it
I
like
know.
when you were getting to go to those?
Yeah, I love going to those because they're local. And obviously it's easier than making a trip down to St. Louis. I'm not sure if Midwest Hunters was ever, or I'm sorry, Transworld was ever up here, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I like going to the local. I like the atmosphere as well because it is much more of a um, you can buy stuff right there and take it home as opposed to some of the really big stuff that you see at Transworld. I mean, I love seeing it, but it's just a different feel. And so it's really great to get to have the ones that are local here. Um, and I hope to be able to go, to be able to continue to attend some of those big events. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, they've been great. I've started going. I think I've been to only two Midwest Haunters conventions, but I'll be honest, the amount of experience that I've had in those, I mean, it's the same length of a weekend as every other weekend of the year, right? But it just feels like there's so much more jam packed into those. This past was it February into March, just not even a month ago, was my first ever Trans World down there. So getting a chance to see all that has been incredible, and I'm hooked now. Now I can't stop going. So it's
And now
great.
it's connected with Christmas, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even as a Halloween fan, I checked out the Christmas side, and we're still going around to see Christmas lights during the holidays. We don't really have the space now to put up our own with all that Halloween takes up, but going to see everything else is still a pastime, and
I'm
that was cool to
I'm
see it on display there.
I'm sure you get the question just like I do. So what do you do for Christmas if this is what you do for Halloween? And I'm always like, nothing like this. It's cute and it looks pretty, but it is nothing like this. Halloween is our one and only. So yeah, I
we
don't need another one.
we always tell people that we sold because we sold the like that blow mold nativity set that goes on the front lawn.
Mhm.
So we always tell people that we sold baby Jesus in a garage sale. So we're going to hell. It's fine. It
I
is
like
what it
it.
is.
I like
But
it.
yeah, we had to make room for all the zombies. And what do you want?
Yeah, you got to have zombies.
So yeah, you not only told me about the conventions in the haunt community, but you actually told me how to join the Chicago Haunt Builders Facebook group. I believe that was back in like 2018 or 2019. So I wanted
Probably.
to thank you because without that, there would be no Voodoo podcast or Voodoo merchandise, and our home haunt would not have expanded like it did. But most importantly, I would not have met some of the truly amazing people on both the home haunting side and now as well on the commercial haunting side, and everybody in between, and be able to call some of the vast majority of them some of my best friends. So this is the lady behind all of that is Sherry right here.
I do brag on that I got you into the hunt group. I do let people know. So
Yeah,
yeah, obviously, it's a perfect fit, and um, not everybody, I mean, we're getting much bigger, and so people are really starting to understand Chicago haunt builders. There's certainly still those that think, to be honest, I've had several people that think Chicago haunt builders comes out and decorates our house.
oh.
And they're very surprised to hear, oh no, we do this. We're just part of that group. But yeah, it's always good to get some real talent like yours into, our group like that. So I brag on it.
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, thank you again as well for letting us in and giving us the 411. And it's funny. I've never thought about it that way, but we do put signs in our yard kind of similarly to like the lawn care signs or the Felco siding
Yes.
signs, where like you plant it in the yard, and then your neighbors think, oh well, that company came out and did that work for that house. So I guess they do kind of associate maybe Chicago haunt builders with the company that came out and decorated your
Yes,
house.
and I've had that multiple times, and they're very, very surprised. Oh, so are you in, like, do you do movie sets and stuff? I'm like, nope, I have a normal, very boring job. I sell cleaning equipment and, nothing fun. So this is my outlet to get my creative side out, and that's, why we do it. Just we both, my husband and I, just we like to get that be creative and make something cool and we're part of people's memories because we really are. And it's just kind of it's a really big thing to talk about and think about is that, people are going to say, you remember that haunted house that house we used to go see every year? And, we're part of those memories. And so that's awesome. That's great.
I always have that like existential thought of like, why do any of it, right? Why do any kind of decorating and stuff? And then I think about it and it's because otherwise there would be nothing to do, right? And of course there are other haunts and somebody else will do it, right? But if it's always somebody else is going to do it and not you doing it yourself, I mean, how are you going to show your creative touch? And who's to say that somebody else does it? I mean, what if you push it off to the next guy and the next guy was like, I'll push it off to that. Then there's no haunt buildings. Then there's
Exactly.
no haunts. And,
I mean,
um, you
we
know,
threaten every year while we're setting up that we're not going to do it again. I mean, every
right.
single year, because it's a lot of work. And it takes, it used to take a couple days, and now it takes weeks. And so, yeah, it's certainly a dedication. And so we always say, why do we do this? And then the kids come and the grown-ups come, and we, hear how special it is to them, and we go, that's why we do it.
Yeah, it's almost surreal that you kind of take a step back and realize that you're in the business of creating memories for everybody who comes and views your haunt or comes out and walks around and so that's yeah, it's something kind of surreal to think about. Do you often look back before you kind of join the group and compared to now how your life has changed with being more involved in the haunt world and like we talked about having that higher amount of foot traffic at the haunt?
Yeah, I mean, before we did it really for us because we didn't have anybody coming to see it. And we still did it and we still did a decent job. But, now that we're part of the group and, know all the tricks and, just can see all the very cool things that are done, it has just grown. We've met amazing people. I always tell people that I meet that the haunt community is a very unique group. In a lot of groups, you find infighting and catty, and that's just not what we have. It's a very friendly group that everybody's there to support each other. And so yeah, it's just been a great way to meet my new friends and meet neighbors. And it's certainly something that I'm glad that we have never given into that thought to stop.
Well, wait until Jim hears that I pretended like I didn't know who he was. Then next thing you know, he and I will be stepping in the ring and no, I'm just kidding. But no,
Well,
it
you can
is a
share
great
some of
group.
your stories about Jim then.
No, I don't know if I have for all the times that we've talked, I don't think I have any goofy stories of Jim. Just always him being at the helm of everything, being able to accommodate everybody, and I want to say run the show, but there's so many people like yourself that are behind the scenes helping as well. But Jim just kind of takes the reins and helps organize it with everybody and does a great job
He really
nonetheless.
does.
So
Yeah, he's awesome.
yeah.
So
All right. Well, now that we know that, you've said that you're not doing it the next year, but you are,
I
what
will.
is next for Dead End Cemetery in 2025? Anything that you're working on that fans would be excited about, or just the same old consistency and great? Oh, you have the laser stuff too, as well.
I do have the laser stuff. I have been adding laser stuff. The things I make, I can put on my tombstones and, last year we added a tombstone that the bell rings,
Oh,
when
I did see that. Yeah.
yeah, so I added that and I was able to redo our fence with the laser stuff. So I have that, but I don't know of a big project yet. We're not as, like we're not building in February like some people are. We pretty much start in the summer, when it gets nice out and we'll start to, think about what we're going to do next. We move things around a little bit, but we keep the same theme overall. So it's not a huge build every year, but there's always something, one or two things that are new. Even if it's a new Home Depot buy, there will always be something new every year.
Yeah, the people that are starting this early in the year, I don't know how they do it.
I
I don't
don't
know how they
either.
have the space. I don't know how they have
Nope.
the mental space. I don't know
Yes.
how they have the time. Although
Yep.
I guess starting this early, you have, I guess, all the time in the world. But I'm the homework before the night it's due type of guy. So
Yeah.
we'll be thinking about ours come like August maybe. So
Yeah.
I'm in that
I,
boat with you.
yeah, I'm definitely not building now or even planning or anything like that. So, I mean, I'll still look across things on, I'll come across something on the internet and I'll be like, ooh, could we make that? That kind of thing. And, that's really what we'll do. But I haven't started a build. So no idea what'll be new next year. You'll have to come see.
All right. Well, I'm excited to zip around the block once again as well and come see you guys. For those that want to find you, where can they find you on social media? And of course, on the Chicago Haunt Builders list as well.
Of course. Dead End Cemetery Roselle. We are on Facebook. So you can find us there. I have a blog, but it's not, I don't, I was really good for a while but I did update it last year. So that is dead-end-cemetery at blogspot.com. And that has some pictures as well as some stories about, how we got into it and you know, our plans of, making different things each year. So it's interesting to check out, but Chicago Haunt Builders is going to be the best place to find us every year. And like I said, dead end. So, if you're headed to the dead end, you're going the right direction.
Well, awesome, awesome. Sherry, thank you again so much for jumping on. It was a pleasure to finally get you on. Like I said, kind of the author behind all of this, because we wouldn't be at this point if it wasn't for you just being a friend at the end of your driveway that one October night. So
Excellent. Well, so glad we met and got you to be part of this wonderful community.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you again, and we will see your haunt in October and talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks. Talk to you.
My next guest is a very talented young man. You would think he's much older due to how long he's been in the industry. He's been disguised as a vast number of different characters at different haunts, displaying his acting and scaring range, but also his comedic side. But most of the time, you can find him with a shovel and a gas can sliding around at Disturbia. Please welcome Drags, A.K.A. Dylan Simpson.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. So you're okay. You're still 19 or are you 20 now?
20 years old, 20 years old, yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations. You're almost at the drinking age, but holy
Yeah,
crap, you're only 20 and you've done already so much in this haunt industry.
yeah, I still got till October until I'm 21. But yeah, I've been in it for now like close to I think 5, 6 years. I started back in 2019. It was at Home Haunt. It was House of Creeps. It was in Streamwood, Illinois. Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
small little kind of like mom and pop kind of like haunt. It was so much fun though. So much fun though. That's kind of where I started though. Like little background though.
They've actually moved into the Schaumburg Boomers Stadium, and I actually got a chance to work with them last year for a little bit, which was a very full circle kind of thing for me because I've been up here in Schaumburg, I've been a Boomers fan because my White Sox are usually pretty terrible each and every year as we approach opening day here. But yeah, I would also listen to the Boomers on WRMN. Now I'm working with WRMN, and then that started as of September of last year, and then in October, I'm guest acting with House of Creeps at the Boomer Stadium. So that was crazy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I have still like a lot of friends that still work over there and everything, and I've heard it's been like seriously sweet. Like the amount of like people that have been going there has been insane. Like them switching over there too. So that's really good for them.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They had a pretty good turnout the night I was there. It was a little windy and it was during the week, but I hear their weekends are like nonstop, especially when they have that Schaumburg Carnival going on over there at Wintrust Field. So, um, yeah, so okay, wait, a birthday in October, is that what kind of drew you into like the haunt world a little bit and liking Halloween?
So a little bit, definitely. Honestly, it was kind of like on a whim too, though, because one of my friends was already had been working at House of Creeps already, and then they kind of told me about it, and it was a little bit closer to like my birthday when I had started working there, and then I kind of just fell in love with it from there. It was just like a slow thing. Like my friend had told me about it, kind of hopped in costume. Like it was I think mid to late October. Like I threw on one of their costumes. I think it was. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a werewolf or something. But it was so much fun, and I just fell in love with it. But yeah, I guess a little bit of the October birthday also kind of came into play with that. I would assume, but yeah.
Well, I was told that when you first started sliding in a slider roll, you had fingerless gloves and just a puck on your palm. You were also Bird Boy. Tell me about this insanity because I would break all 10 of my fingers if I wasn't wearing any kind of protection on the fingers.
Yeah, so they weren't fingerless gloves. I had gloves at the time. They were just super worn down gloves. So I ended up I didn't have clackers like the normal traditional
Oh
clack
my goodness.
have. So I ended up having to duct tape my fingers over time because at the time I didn't know how clackers worked. Like I was just getting into it and all that. So like all I did was just tape. I just put duct tape over my fingers because the gloves kept getting worn down over time. Like constantly, I kept getting holes in them. And I did have pucks in them though because there's Velcro on them. So I did have pucks, and I just did duct tape around the fingers and no pads or anything. And I was doing it on like pretty much sidewalk too. Like there was a few times, trust me, there was a few times where I just face planted, like very well face planted. But I got the hang of it. I got the hang of it. But it was just pretty much like full body slides, like no knee pads or anything, just like full body. Like you're just using your hands and your sliding shoes.
Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's I mean I'd break everything. I'd scrape everything up. So you're more courageous than I would have been. What kind of drew you to sliding? And did you have any other characters that you kind of started with before drags with sliding?
So, well, yeah, that was kind of like the Plague Doctor character I did. I started doing the Plague Doctor character. It was mainly for the Christmas haunt at House of Creeps that we like they did. We kind of did like a
Right.
they started doing like a Christmas theme. I don't know if they still do it now. I'm pretty sure that they still do, but they started doing a Christmas theme, and I kind of just slowly created that little like Plague Doctor character because I really liked the game and the franchise SCP. I don't know if you ever heard of it, SCP Containment Breach. I'm sure a lot of other haunters might have. It's a really awesome awesome series though, and there's a Plague Doctor in that series, and that's what kind of drew me into that character, and I kind of just decided to make that. And then I started. It was literally a Plague Doctor mask. I actually I have it hanging up on my back wall. I don't know if you I don't know if you can see it. It's back up there. You might be able to, but it's just
Okay.
yeah, it's just chilling back there. You can probably barely see it, but I was wearing that in a bathrobe at the time, like just a black bathrobe, like literally, it was super long and everything, and like it still looked intimidating. And then what I did was I took like stuffed, I took shirts, balled them up, and rubber banded them, and then because I didn't have any like shoulder pads at the time because the character's a little bit more like bulky, like he's got like more like of a hunch and like shoulder pads. So I took like a bunch of t-shirts, rolled them up, balled them up, rubber banded them, and stuffed them into the shoulders of the bathrobe. So it looked like huge, like super bulky. It looked so funny. It looked so funny though.
That's awesome though. Yeah, no, they did stop doing their Christmas one, they were telling me.
Oh,
Because we had on the cast and crew and all the managers from Nightmare Haunted House, as well as Adam and his group from Horror on Highland, because they combined to do Silent Night this year. And I was promoting it thinking, wow, this is the first time a home haunt has done a Christmas haunted house. And then it turns out, no, it was House of Creeps that had done one previously, but I think they have since stopped. Part of it too is like now that they're in the Boomers Stadium, it's a little bit tougher. I'm probably assuming to then bring that back to their house, and when they're not doing Halloween at their house during the regular season, it's probably tough to do a haunt during Christmas time and transport it back and forth. But I mean, I'm sure they still have to break out the U-Hauls and take it out of the Boomer Stadium at some point. So
Yeah.
no, that's awesome though that you were doing that. And then since then, you moved to Disturbia. How did you get started with Disturbia exactly?
So honestly, it was pretty funny. So Chains and a few other people had came to guest act and everything at it was at House of Creeps. Like a few people came to guest act. It was Chains, like a few people from Disturbia had came to guest act at House of Creeps, and they had told me about it. And they were like, "Hey, why don't you like come guest act at like Disturbia sometime too, like like for like one of our off season events because they had done off season events for like every single off season, like you know what I mean, St. Patrick's
Yeah.
Day or Valentine's, like you name it, you know what I mean. So I came over for their St. Patrick's Day event, and I ended up guest acting there, and I kind of just like fell in love with it from there. Like I was like, wow, like this is like a really really like really big production and everything, and like it would be really really fun to be able to like hop onto something like this, you know what I mean, and get involved and just be able to like do it in a bigger environment and learn from other people, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, sliding at Disturbia too, now that you are a full-blown slider with the pads and everything, is probably one of the biggest draws to the front of the house because of how fun that parking lot is for both the haunt actor and the customer. I've experienced it, but for those that don't realize, what is that playground like, and how aware do you have to be when there are so many sliders out there? I think last year I was out there, we had seven of us. I think there were seven sliders in one night.
I was honestly hoping you would mention like a question like that or ask a question like that because like honestly like getting into it originally like there was just so much ground to cover. Like I realized like how much like room there actually is to move around there instead of just like you know going like up and down a street and doing it back at how I was doing it at a home hunt. You know what I mean? But I originally had started inside at Disturbia, so I was inside for like a year and a half or two, I would say, and then I started kind of they like got me into like a breaking position as I got a little bit older when I was like I think 17, 18 years old around. And then from there I got put outside and I realized how much just ground there was to cover and how big the place was. But overall it is very very tough, specifically on off-season events when we do have way way more like sliders and guest actors from other haunts and everything. But yeah, it is a lot harder whenever there's a lot more like guest actors outside and you have to be very like way way more attentive, I'd say, to the guest actors than the guests coming through because the guests coming through are usually just you know walking up and down a straight line and going up accordingly while as your guest actors are bobbing in and out of the lines and everything. So you got to really really be attentive and make sure you're not gonna you know just wham into somebody. So you got to time everything, make sure that you're dropping down at the right time and popping up because if you don't you will run into somebody. Like once again it's better to run into one of your fellow actors though I'd say than a guest any day because I mean it's not good to run into anybody, but like overall, like I would say that. But like during season, it's a bit different because it's only like me, Chains, and maybe like one or two other people out there sliding. So it's a lot more easier to bounce off of each other. Um, like not saying that it isn't like super super like it's not super super bad when we have a bunch of guest actors. It actually makes it a lot more fun. You just got to be a lot more attentive. Um, but like during season it's not as bad because there's not as many actors out there, so you just it's more watching out for the guests because we have such big crowds at the time during season. Like there's the guest flow through is insane. Like it gets so crazy.
Yeah, I just guest acted for. But I saw you there for the one day at Valentine's Day, and then even for the Christmas one, we walked through as fans for the St. Patrick's Day event, and each time I made note of like, yeah, these are some pretty big crowds, but it's still nothing compared to what you guys get in season. I mean, it's
Yep.
don't get me wrong. I mean, for the off-season events, like that's incredible that so many people are coming out to these kind of things, which, I still talk to so many people and so many people don't realize that the haunt industry becomes year round like that, especially when you look at Basement of the Dead and Disturbia. But I mean, the people that do realize it come out in droves, and there are plenty of people. People always ask me, they're like, "Is there anybody that goes to those?" And it's like, yeah, you'd be surprised. Like, it is backed up, no matter what month, no matter what holiday it is. But I will say, yeah, during the actual season, that line is like 10 times as long. You have all the actors, like I mentioned, so that is a lot of fun to be out there regardless. Is there a story attached to Drags as the character?
There is like a smaller like backstory. I'm not one who gets like super like involved in like a super long backstory or super long storyline. There is a smaller backstory. It's more or less just like dude who crawled out of the sewer. Like that's what I'll just keep it at for now. It does go a little bit more into depth than that, but I got like a paragraph for like the backstory. It's a pretty small one though. It's but to sum it up, mentally unstable like sociopath being who just crawled out of the sewer and can't speak. You know, ripped out his vocal cords, can barely like just let out weeps and screeches. That's it. That's it. Yeah. I was like,
I like it. I like it. What has really gone into the creativity of the character and any of like those modifications that you made? Obviously, you do have knee pads for sliding now, but what have you kind of changed up over the years?
So originally, so the original drags, like I'll tell you what, it was not it. I'll tell you that much. It was not it. It was pretty bad. Um, it was kind of just like a Slipknot looking mask and a jumpsuit. It resembled too much Corey Taylor vibes, like because that's all I got at that point. I wasn't scary. It was just like, yo, it's Corey Taylor. Like every time, yeah. So I was like, damn, this kind of sucks. But like, it was a cool, like once again, cool looking character. Just didn't give that scary aspect, I guess. Like a lot of people were just like, oh, Slipknot, that dude from Slipknot, right? Um, but over time, I kind of just developed like I don't really know how to put it. I knew I wanted something like more dark and grungy for the character, like not just like a classic like jumpsuit, like something super plain or anything. I just wanted like something a lot more grungy. So I went with like a darker colored like super blacked out trench coat, and then picked up some pants from I think it was just Walmart, and then like just stressed them to the absolute like max, like just kind of went to town on them, like with throwing every single thing I could on them. Tell you what, creepy cloth was like my best friend for like creepy cloth works. It works wonders. Mix it with some hot glue, throw it on something. It looks disgusting. It does, truthfully. And then if you throw some like paint over that, it's nasty. So, but yeah, I don't really know. It was kind of just throwing bits and pieces together. I knew I just wanted to go like a dark grungy route with him. But the mask was made from Lifeless Creations. I got the mask from Lifeless Creations, so I kind of was looking for what company I wanted to go and like what route I wanted to go with the mask, and that took a lot of time. And I was at Midwest Hunters Convention the past couple of years, and then like it took me some time to debate on what I wanted to get. And then I picked up one of their masks like the second year I was there, I think. And I was like, you know what, this is really fitting the vibe. Like I like this a lot. So I ended up sticking with that. And then I've gotten masks from them like so forth for the years coming. I just got a new mask actually from them like I'd say a year or two ago. They gave it to me like completely free of charge. It was awesome because he was like, dude, I have never the owner. He was like PJ Lifeless. Actually, shout out to him. He's awesome. He makes some killer stuff. But he's like, hey, I've never seen somebody wear like one of my masks for as long as you did. And I showed him like how worn like my mask was after like 3 or 4 years. And he's like, I'm gonna make something special for you this Midwest. And he ended up making me like this brand new mask. I got it right here actually. It's got some wear and tear in it because I've already worn it like pretty a lot, but it was pretty
Oh
much
yeah, yeah.
yeah, a re-renovation of drags. So drags, which originally just like the face itself, it didn't have this like the outline he did with it. So
Right.
of like the leather, like kind of like the leather outline he did with it though. Like it was like a perfect rework and everything. And he completely gave it to me free of charge. It was awesome. Like shout out PJ, 100%.
That is awesome. Another reason for you audio listeners to tune into the video so you get a chance to see that cool one. You've probably seen it if you went out to Disturbia. I think this last year you were wearing that one more, right?
Yeah. I have some other characters. I do have another character that I can show you guys later in the video if anything up here. But I do have some other characters that I do dabble in besides drags. But I primarily do drags for the most part during season. Yes.
Well, let's dive into actually some of those other characters. So many of your alternate characters that you play have a comical side to them. I want to say that those derive from your everyday personality outside of the haunt world. But what would you say is some of the inspiration for each of those?
Okay, so like I would say Gugu definitely is. So that's like my diaper baby character. It's just pretty much a skin white morph suit. I originally was wearing a mask with him, like it was a mask with a wig and everything. I think the mask was by Nightmare Productions, Nightmare Studios. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But I originally was wearing a mask with them, but I decided to stop wearing the mask because people said it was scarier. Because I just had I knitted these kind of like rope strings through the morph suit. I had some help with that. But I knitted them like through the morph suit, and it's just got like these like stringy like stringy kind of rope hair, and it's a goofy character. I wear like a diaper. I got like a cup like a baseball cup inside there, so it kind of looks like he like pooped his pants. You know what I mean, kind of thing. It's just a goofy character all around, and that's just like definitely does rub off a bit of my personality with like I guess the goofy funny side 100% because that character is just like me running around screaming. I'm like my mom and dad left me at the bus stop, like just screaming the stupid like the stupidest stuff. And I got like a bunch of different like I got like a little satchel bag that I rock with him. I also wear him like in a lot of other characters like drags and other stuff, and it's filled with like a broken harmonica that's filled with like food. It's disgusting, but I still use it. It's filled with like little duckies, like little fake maggots. Like it's filled with a whole bunch of different stuff I could run off of bits with. So I got like little baby toys and baby shakers that I'll go up in people's ears and I'll be like, oh listen to this one, oh listen to this, and I'm shaking it in somebody's ears. It's funny. It's funny. It's hilarious.
That is awesome. Yeah, I think with was it that same one that you were running around with apple juice at the Christmas haunt?
Yeah, yeah. So well, actually, that was Bubby. So that's a teddy bear character that I have in the works. I don't know if you want me to show him yet, if you want me to
Yeah,
just hold.
yeah.
I'm
Go
like,
for it if you got them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Let me grab everything over here real quick. I brought some of the stuff up. So I'll start off with the mask. So Ozo the clown made this Andrew Martingello. I don't know if I said his last name right, but so sorry
Yeah.
Andy if this and I mispronounced your last name, but you know I love you. Um, but so this is the mask for him. It's just distorted, corrupted looking bear. It's a masterpiece though, and Andy had totally hooked me up with this, gave me a killer price on it. He makes amazing masks, so shout out to him. Um, but I just love like it caught my eye. I think I got this at it was my first Trans World. It was like a year or two, and it caught my eye. And like there's already a killer price that he had on it, and then he hooked me up even more, and I was like, "Oh man, thank you so much!" So, like shout out to him again though, because this is such a killer mask, and I love it. Like it fits really well too. It's super like snug to the face. But I'll get into the costume part one sec. So I'll start off with the pants. So this is the one that you saw, by the way, running with the apple juice. So I do the apple juice bit with Gugu as well a lot of the time, but sometimes I just do like water and food coloring, like some nasty looking like I call it like juice, like it's just disgusting and nasty. But with Bubby, I'll mix in a baby bottle. I'll mix applesauce usually, a bit of water, and then apple juice with it, so it becomes like a really nasty thick consistency. And then I'll throw some food coloring sometimes in there too, and it's like it comes out like chunky. So like when like I'll be like, oh, it's just apple juice to people, and then like they'll have some in it, and then it comes out all chunky, and they're like, what else is it? I'm like, oh, it's just applesauce too. Like it's the funniest thing ever. It's the funniest thing ever. But these are the pants. You can't really see them too much. This character took a lot of time. The whole costume itself was made by me besides the mask. Um, but all these bears, I just went to Goodwill, picked them up. Like they were like 80, 90 cents a piece type thing. Like I just was able to pick them all up and everything. And then I got like bits of bandanas that I ripped up. I permagrimed them on there, hot glued them, like sewed them shut kind of thing. And then there's also like fur bits like that I added on there that are like kind of like permagrimed, also hot glued on there. Um, and then there's the undershirt. Sorry, there's a little bit to this. There's a little bit to this because I love getting involved in this character. He's so much fun. This is the undershirt that I have for him. And so I didn't have to add anything to the back of him or anything because I have an overcoat. So all I had to do was just add fur to the front of it because it just kind of shows the front chest piece because the coat goes over it, if you get what I mean. And then I don't have to worry about anything else underneath this part. But this is kind of just for, this is just all permagrimed, perma blood, hot glue also, like for the most part. I added
I
like,
love how it's different layers too. Like you said, like the jacket goes over to make you seem kind of more like that, not a like a rugged mountain man, but also literally
yeah,
like a bear that you would see like in a movie that's coming out of the forest that like maybe has different layers to the fur, you know?
yeah, 100%. I added like Mod Podge to some stuff as well, like so that helped like with layering and everything. So this is the overcoat. This is the thing that took like definitely I would say like probably a week and a half. It wasn't super long. Like the whole character took me probably like 2.5 weeks. It wasn't super bad. But so this is the overcoat. It's just got a bunch of fur pieces on it, bandana pieces, like kind of like same bit as the pants and everything to fit the whole vibe. Um, this was already on the overcoat actually. It's just like it's kind of hooked on there and everything. So I was able to pick this up from Goodwill and find that there. So this was an amazing find. And then I got the back of it, which is just a whole mess. It's just a bloody bear, dismembered head. Yeah, it's a little wild. It's a little graphic, but the crazy thing about it is kids love this character still. They'll see the ripped off bear head and they're still like, oh my, and they're like, oh, there's a bear. Like they're freaking out about it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I just love how much detail goes into like, okay, it's comical because you're ripping apart stuffed animals kind of like Fluffy would, right? So be careful you don't go too close to him because he might think you're a stuffed animal in and of yourself. So he might tear your shreds. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's a nice one.
yeah, no,
Um,
that's the only ripped stuffed animal that there is on that character. Other than that, I don't rip stuffed animals. I don't go in his lane. It's okay.
Well, a lot of the reason that you get the chance to switch things up so much and try out these different characters is because of the fact that we talked about Disturbia and Basement of the Dead open up for so many holiday events throughout the season. What can you say about the Senecers allowing you to have so many like year-round opportunities with both haunts?
It's seriously awesome. Like there's like the fact that it brings in so many people too, in my opinion, is like it allows the haunt community to come in whole, in my opinion, like because you don't really get that. There's nowhere else you can really there are definitely other places that do off-season events, but like it might like be like a Valentine's one, Christmas one, like you know what I mean, here and there at other places. But like them doing like St. Patrick's Day, Easter, summer, like all that, it allows everybody from other haunts to just come together, and you got like 80, 90 people there, like you know what I mean, like at least 50 or 60 of those people could be guest actors. Like it's insane. Like it's awesome because you get to see everybody that you don't normally get to see, like other than maybe visiting their haunt. You know what I mean? You don't really get to see them outside of everything else. So it's really nice. It's really nice. It's awesome that they get to do that. That it brings a community together like that. I think that's the best part about it. Is like whenever I get to see just a bunch of faces that I don't normally get to see from other haunts. Like Midnight Terror. There's a bunch of people that come from there. Hell's Gate. Like there's so many different people that come out from so many different haunts. It's awesome. Like it is.
Yeah, and I saw that even guest acting with you guys, or even just going to visit, like I said, for the St. Patrick's Day one, and it's just a nice way to stay connected to the haunt industry. That it's separate from Halloween. I think everybody tries to explain that to people now. Is like it doesn't have to just be in October or late September, early November. So that is awesome, and really, I really enjoy it. I mean, it's for me, it's I wouldn't say right around the corner, but like I know that area pretty well over by Disturbia. I grew up in Westchester, so it's not too far of a drive here from Schaumburg. So I mean, it's a lovely little jaunt over there and get to see all your friends from, like you said, multiple different haunts, not just the ones that you're going to see in costume and in character. My bird boy question came from the man himself, Chains. What is it like to have Nick not only as a mentor for the front of the house, but also as a fellow slider and a friend?
Dude, it's been awesome. Seriously, that I can't even discuss how much Chains has done for me. Like not only as like a person, but also as a haunter, like just goes both ways. Like he's an awesome dude overall. And he taught me a lot of what I know when it comes to sliding. Like all that definitely 100% came from him and like a few other people that helped me over time, but like most of it definitely from him 100% because he kind of took me and my buddy Nathan Smiley kind of like under our wing, taught us everything that we needed to know when it came to sliding, the protection, like specifically parts of it, like you know what I mean, like how to protect not only yourself but the people around you and sliding safely, you know, because I was 100% the biggest thing when it came to in-house sliding because in my opinion, if I'm gonna be honest, I would say I would like once again, it's very, very hard on both ends, you know, outside and inside sliding. But inside sliding might even be sometimes tougher because you're cutting it really close. You know what I mean? You're on really, really close corners. You gotta pop up sometimes even sooner, like go down sooner times. You know, it's all about judging it out and judging how fast the group is walking towards you as well. You got to judge how fast somebody's coming towards you if they're walking slow or at a quicker pace. You know, so 100% he taught me and my buddy though all that. Like he's an amazing person overall, not like also as a mentor as well. 100% he has handled so many situations outside you that I can't even like I can't even express like he's an amazing guy though, amazing guy overall.
I liked in my head, I like to compare sliding to like playing hockey because it's something that I also do. And, in hockey, like you're maybe not focused on each thing as much. I think it was Brendan Shanahan that got asked the question, like, is hockey hard? And he said something along the lines of, is hockey hard? Well, we are on 1/8 of an inch knives on the bottom of our feet. We're going at like top speeds. It's played on a hard surface. We're hitting each other, but at the same time, we have to have like the focus and awareness of like a brain surgeon to be able to like
Yep.
use our hands and all that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, when you step out onto the rink in hockey, like you do have to pay attention to like, are my skates sharpened? If it's roller hockey, do I have the right wheels on? Do I have good wheels right now, or are they starting to wear down? And like you start to kind of get the feel for that as you play more, like as you're a little bit more well versed in that kind of stuff. And I feel like sliding is the same way, but you have to focus on it more in the moment. Like when I'm on a shift on the ice, like yeah, it's in the back of my mind, like oh maybe it's time for a skate sharpening or whatever. But like I'm also just gunning at full speed, go get the puck, go make this pass, do whatever. With sliding, if you don't focus on like if you have new pads on and they're a little bit more slippery than your old ones, so you're going to slide a little bit further, and you're in those tight quarters that you were talking about. Now you could be running into like the patrons that are walking through. So like you said, yeah, you do have to focus in those tight spaces. I've done indoor or in haunt sliding both at Old Joliet and at Basement of the Dead. And so you really have to, like you said, time it just right, focus like what you're feeling on your knees as you're sliding. But then, of course, like if you're going a little bit too far, you got to know when to dig in your toes a little bit more, when to use your hands to stop you, when to pop up. And then popping up is a whole different sort of balance. Like if you fall down on your knees in hockey, like, yeah, you're going to go sliding into the boards unless you learn to pop up. So it's a very similar pop up, but you got to focus on all those things at once. And then
Yep.
not to mention, you're not in a well lit rink. You're in probably like a dark room with shadows being cast all over the place to try to scare the customers coming through. So, yeah, none of that is easy by any means. So, yeah, you're not wrong. Do you have any funny stories about Nick that the public or the haunt community maybe isn't aware of?
Oh, dude, no, you know what? Like, I got the funniest one that you brought that up because I was kind of waiting for once again a question like this. I was hoping you'd ask something like this, like funny stories that might have happened at the haunt. There's like so many I could kind of think of, but like just one that I specifically love. It's not even a funny story. It's just Nick doing chains things, doing the stupid chains things that he does, and I love it. When he plays Michael Myers every year for like our slasher event, he does the stupidest bits in it. It's hilarious. He's got this machete, and he's so good at playing just like a prop, like just like he'll just go like super stiff next to like one of our tall barrels in the line, like and people are what dude. He'll let multiple groups go past. Like there's just multiple going past, and then finally he'll just wait for that one group that he knows is just gonna start running or something, and he just like slams on the barrel with the machete, and the way he moves, it's hilarious. Like because he's got a certain build to him too. He's he's more he's stocky. So it's hilarious the way he moves in that character though. Like you guys you got to come and see it for our slasher event. If anybody's watching this, you got to come through for our slasher event because it's the funniest thing ever. You'll know who Michael is in a second.
I was gonna say like that's hilarious that he plays Michael Myers because like he's a paisan like me. He's already not the tallest dude ever. Like you've got I don't want to say short king Michael Myers because I
Yes.
think he's still taller than me or at least same height. We might be same height, or maybe he's a little bit shorter
Yeah.
than me. I don't know. He's like right here, like right at my height, basically. But like to like be dressed up as Michael Myers, and like you said, he's a little bit of the bigger build, a little stockier. Like even his brother Anthony might be a better build to fit a Michael Myers, but changes movements, like you said. Yeah, Nick's movements are just probably fit that character. That's hilarious.
Dude, I don't know if you've actually like came and seen him play that character. I don't know if you've. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you've been there for our slasher event, uh, or not, but it's so hilarious. If you haven't, you got to come and see it. Just even act with him like when he's in that character because it is hilarious. Like it never fails to disappoint. Like every year I've seen him play that character, I think that's hands down like the happiest I see him like in a character is just playing like traditional Michael Myers. Like he has the time of his life in that character. It's so funny.
I don't think I've been to the slasher night at Disturbia. I know we went to a special slasher night that was in January at Basement of the Dead. And there was a Michael Myers, or was it a Jason? There was either a Michael Myers or a Jason that like followed us through like a number of rooms to the point where I was like, is this going to be a Hellfest situation where like this guy doesn't actually work here? Like, because I mean, he followed us for a good bit, and I was like, all right, now like, but like that's really good. Like you make even like the best of customers, like the most um, seasoned of customers, like myself. And some of my friends that do voodoo with us, we were even a little nervous and on edge. So I don't think I've seen Nick in that unless we did see him at that. It was January of 2022 or 23 that was at whatever the Friday the 13th ended up happening in January,
Yeah.
and it was at Basement of the Dead.
Hmm. Yeah, he might have been there. Just recently I started doing Art the Clown for like I think our slasher events. I think I've only done it this past year, but it's been super fun. I got some like content like on my Instagram of him on there. It was so fun, so much fun playing him though and getting to play him. Like it was so goofy. Like I got some really really funny videos of him in there. But yeah.
We had like three Art the Clowns out there. I think it was for the Christmas event. So I don't think it was you, unless maybe one of those nights. But yeah, because you were dressed up as Bubby. But there were like three Art the Clowns out there. But the nice thing was is each one was like a different variation. So like the first one comes up to you, it's the completely all white, pristine Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Then a little while later, maybe what's coming up to you is the one with like the blood splatter on the face, and it's like okay, so if you didn't realize that there were three walking around, you probably were just like, well, that first that Art the Clown he just went elsewhere and now he's all bloodied up. So he just went and killed somebody. So, but yeah. Um, so apparently, I've heard that. So you talked about a funny story about Nick or funny instances. I've heard that you are a great locksmith.
Locksmith. Like
Going,
go a little bit more in depth. Go a little bit more in depth.
this would be going back to MHC of last year, trying to get some kind of a lockbox open in in order to get Jesse's car keys out of there.
Oh yeah. No, I totally remember that. I totally okay. That is hilarious that you mentioned that. That was a whole entire predicament. I think he had like, if I'm correct, Jesse had locked. In his lockbox, he had like everything in there. If I'm correct, like I think it was his car keys, like anything that he needed, pretty much. And this was for I think this was for Transworld or MHC. Wait. When did you say again? I'm trying to remember myself now.
I think he told. Let me double check the text. I think he told me that it was MHC of last year.
I think Was MHC of last year, actually. Yeah, yeah. If I'm correct, it should have been MHC of last year. But he locked everything in there, and if I remember correctly, we had like a bunch of like kind of like lock picking stuff, like kind of like stuff to get into his. I don't remember what happened with it. I don't even remember what happened with it, honestly. Like I just remember that I was able to get into it. I just remember that I was able to get into it though. But yeah, it definitely took a bit. It was a funny predicament. It definitely was.
Yeah, he was saying last year at MHC, yeah, he locked his keys in the lockbox.
Yep.
And then you guys eventually had to buy bolt cutters
Yeah.
just to unlock it,
Yeah.
just to get it into his car. Because I guess it wasn't close enough through that, or the metal of the lockbox wasn't allowing the sensors on his car to recognize that the keys were right there.
Yes. Yeah. And we originally, what I was saying was we originally had like some like lock picking stuff, like a screwdriver and some other things. And then I think he had like this his little like a little kid, like somebody else that we were with at the time had like a little kit or something for like small little lock picking stuff. I can't remember, but we were trying that originally, and that just wasn't working out. So then Jesse was like what do we resort to and everything, and I think of course we ended up going with bolt cutters if I'm correct, and Jesse got bolt cutters and just had to use bolt cutters to get it open. I honestly, bringing that up, that was so random. I couldn't even remember that situation until you brought it up. I was like, that's such a fate memory. I love that though.
Blocking that out completely in your mind, you were like, I did never want to remember that day ever again.
No,
At least it was his
rough.
stuff and not yours, right?
Yeah, no, right, no, but it was rough, hands down. That was a rough day. I felt bad for Jesse, 100%. Like having to deal with that, especially since he's from PA, he's from Pennsylvania, so like him having like all of his stuff locked up and all that. It's like, oh God.
Did those skills come in handy with your car this week? I know that you were saying that you had some car issues earlier this week.
Oh no, luckily, yeah, no, luckily it was nothing to deal with anything with any car locks or anything. But yeah, I'm just having some car issues right now. It kind of sucks, but it's all right. Stuff happens in life. Like it's all good. But yeah, we're kind of just like out two cars, so like we're only down to like kind of one car miles right now. So we're trying to get rid of the two cars and then get a new car, hopefully, and you know what I mean. Go from there.
Gotcha, yeah. I want to jump it into our next segment here, which is called the Voodoo Personalities segment, sponsored by Voodoo Ambassador, of course. But I want to get into more so some of those friendships that you've made through haunting. We mentioned Jesse and Nathan. There's so many great people in that cast at Disturbia and even Basement who are just make both of those places what they are. I know it's mostly those two guys, but like, who do you gravitate towards during haunt nights, even on the outside when you're on the line? But also, what goes into some of those twinning costumes that you've done with those guys?
So Nathan would definitely be the person I have done the most twinning costumes with. Jesse, I would second that hands down. But Nathan, unfortunately, has been doing nursing for like the past couple of years. Not unfortunately, I'm super, super happy for him. Like, no doubt, 100%. But like when me and him, because he started guest acting at the same time I did at Disturbia. It was like 2020 or 2021 St. Patrick's Day. Um, one of those years. I can't remember which year it was. But he started guest acting there at the same time. We became like super, super close, like best buddies and everything. And we were haunting together like for super, super long, like 2, 3 years, I'd say about. And then he just had to go to nursing, unfortunately. Darn that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it sucks, but it's all right. But I definitely would say that I gravitate like on the outside. Like if there was two people, it would definitely be Luke and Jesse, like hands down, like 100%. Whenever it came to just bouncing off of each other, especially like during season, I would say Luke, Jesse, and also Greg, Chatter, because he was acting a lot with us. So those three people, I was definitely gravitating a lot towards more because we shared of all, like I would say a lot of us shared a very similar mindset when it came to character development and like making characters and all that, and like our character styles and everything. So those were definitely people I gravitated more towards because we would bounce off of each other like big time in the line when it came to just like small bit, even if it was like a small bit here and there. Like we were just all super goofy and also scary together. So it worked really, really well all together.
All right, so I've seen your pictures and videos of the mosh pit slash rage pits that you've been in. How are these crazy live concerts that you're going to? Because I've been in a couple of mosh pits, but nothing as far as what I've seen you in.
I'm actually surprised you bring this up because I honestly thought most of this interview was just going to be like haunt completely, like or haunt related 100%. But I go to a lot of hardcore shows for anybody who knows that music. Like kind of just like hardcore punk in a way for the most part. It's a little bit different than like your casual like metal scene, and death metal and all that kind of stuff. It's what we call fight moshing. Everybody's doing these crazy windmills and like arm spins and spin kicking and everything. It's kind of the way people like we call it throwing down. It's the way people get down to the music and show their appreciation to the music and everything, and also enjoy it because you got to throw down at a hardcore show. Like you got it. You know what I mean? But um, like it's a little different than the metal scene 100%. Like the metal scene for the most part is like your casual like push pits, like everybody's kind of pushing each other, also doing circle pits, so it's a little bit more tame. While at a hardcore show you got people, what we also call crowd killers, are the people you got to watch out for. People going around the room and literally just going up to every single person they can and just whamming on them. Like it's a little crazy. It's not for like the light heart. I would say like you gotta be a little bit more. You just got to be very aware there. It's like sliding. You just got to be very aware and attentive there because you otherwise you might take a punch to the face or a fist to the face or something, or even a boot. People are spin kicking and doing the craziest things. So
I love how you related it back to the haunt world. Yeah, that's too perfect. Yeah, we have friends that are in a band called Authentic Pines, and they are a pop punk band. And even in the pop punk scene, like you see like these like metal-esque mosh pits and what's not going on. But like I think if you were to look at that, you'd be like, this is baby food. This is what I'd put in the baby bottle with Bubby compared to like what I'm doing at these hardcore shows. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean
But
a little bit, but like still, like I can get down with certain kinds of metal, 100%. Like certain kinds of like deathcore and like stuff like that, like old school screamo and stuff. I can still get down with that 100%. Like I don't mind that kind of stuff, but I definitely like hardcore 100% in that scene. Like it's a lot of fun. I love the scene, but I got to take you to one of those shows. Seriously, man. I'm gonna bring I'm
I'm
gonna
in.
I'm gonna bring you to one. I don't care. You're coming with me.
I'll wear my full hockey pads. Don't worry.
Yeah, I did. I was yeah, I'd recommend it.
All right. Well, what would Dylan Simpson be doing if he was not attending one of these concerts or haunting? What else are you doing typically in your free time?
So I would say working. I was like I'd be like first off working because that's what I do majority of the time in my free time, if you want to say it, you know what I mean. I work at a steakhouse, so it's a really 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 good gig though. It's been really nice working there. I've been working there for like about 3 years now, I'd say. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to leave there because I don't know anywhere else I can go where I would actually make decent money like that, because the money's really really steady there, because of the business that we get there, which is really really nice. But besides working, I'm also getting a band together. It's a hardcore kind of beat down, punk band. Not punk, sorry. I'll take the punk back, but it's more hard, just straight hardcore, traditional hardcore, like old school. But it's Practically Ill. So anybody who wants to drop a follow on that or check it out, Practically Ill, practically, and then ILL, just ill, because we're in Illinois,
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome. What are you doing in that? Are you singing or are you playing an instrument or
so
both?
I do vocals in that. My buddy Nathan plays bass. He also is in the hot world. Nathan, or Smiley, he goes by Smiley as well. You could find his Instagram. Um, he does bass and vocals as well with me, and then Tommy, my buddy Tommy Bruneman, he's on drums, and then my buddy Patrick on guitar. So I do lead vocals for the band though, as of currently, and then I'm also getting back into drumming as of like 3 or 4 months ago. 3 or 4 months ago, I started that at the beginning of the year because I used to drum when I was a lot younger. So I'm getting back into that slowly but surely. I'm not the best by any means, but I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to get the roots of it again, really really well. So
I was never super into actually playing instruments and such, but live music is wonderful. I do enjoy going to concerts and stuff like that, but it's tough to be a drummer and a lead singer at the same time, right? Like I feel like that's not super often because I mean the drums themselves are just so loud to begin with. So even if you got like the microphones and everything with the audio straightened out, like you're set on the back of the stage, so you don't really see a whole lot of drummers getting a chance to be those lead singers.
You'd actually be surprised. So like I'm not for our band, I'm not going to be doing drums and lead vocals by any means. I like we have our own drummer and I'm doing lead vocals. But there are a lot of bands in the hardcore scene. There's like two-piece bands, which it's just like a guitarist and drummer pretty much, where the guitarist does vocals as well as the drummer. There's a band that's literally called Two Piece in the hardcore scene. Like the band's just called Two Piece, and they do like hardcore beatdown music. And the drummer does vocals primarily. Like he's primarily on vocals while playing the drums, which is a super hard thing to do because not only do you have to keep on time and keep the flow going between you and the guitarist, but you're also trying to keep your vocals on time and everything just blended all, like everything's got to blend together. So it's tough. It's tough, no doubt. I've tried it already, and it's not something that you can get into at the beginning by any means. It's something that takes a lot of time and practice, 100%.
I've always wondered, like in any genre that includes a band playing, whether it's alternative or pop punk or uh, hardcore and all the metal scene. I've always wondered if like the drummer could write a song and write a message in the lyrics and stuff like that, but then has of course the lead vocals, whether that's the lead guitarist or just the vocals, the singer themselves, sing it on behalf of them, and they're just in the back. So the message came from the drummer, but then it's the rest of the band. I mean, as it is, you're all one band, you're all one unit. You're sending out this message. But I've always kind of wondered like who was the true author behind that song, you know?
Yeah. Well, honestly, it does come from usually a lot of bands, it varies, but a lot of bands tend to start with guitar riffs half of the time. Like they'll come up with a riff, you know what I mean, and then kind of go from there, then come up with some sort of drum beat, and bass line to kick in with that. So it usually starts from the guitar riff, but drums play the biggest, I would say one of the biggest parts in the band 100% because they're primarily they're the ones who primarily keep the band in time
Right.
100% on that count, that 1, 2, 3, 4 count or whatever the count is, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, that, and of course it goes along with the beat, of course, too. So yeah, that's super important.
yeah.
I noticed that you also went to the Bristol Renaissance Fair in your free time. I think that was with Emma Von Zombie and Tom as well. I've never been. What goes into your costume prep with that compared to like what you normally do for the haunt,
Okay.
and what's that experience kind of like?
I love these questions that you got. Like, where you pull these out from? This is awesome. I seriously love this. I'm not even kidding. Like
I do my research.
it's putting a smile on my face like right away. But that was off of a limb, man. Like honestly, that was my first year at the Bristol Renaissance. Like quite frankly, that was literally my first year at the Bristol Renaissance Fair, which is kind of crazy. I hadn't been any prior years. I had always wanted to go prior years. But I had that kilt from a St. Patrick's Day character that I would normally play at Disturbia. And then I had my belt that I usually wear with drags. It's kind of like do I have it up here actually right now? I might. No, I don't think I do. Yeah, no, unfortunately I don't right now. But it's kind of like a belt that goes around me in a sash, but like there wasn't really too much preparation for it. It was Pirate Weekend if I'm correct.
Okay.
But I was with Emma, Tom, and Lorenzo. Lorenzo was there as well, if I'm correct. I think Bruce as well. Bruce Holmes, Lorenzo Skinner, Nathan. Nathan was there as well. So there was a good group of us, and we were all dressed up in some pretty sick stuff. Like it was pretty awesome. I'm trying to count if there's any more people that I'm forgetting, but if there is, I'm sorry. But those are the people that I remember off the top of my head. Um, but it was so much fun. Like it was a blast. Like my first year there, I got to witness and see so much cool things, see so much cool costumes. Lorenzo had this amazing costume on. It was by man, I'm blanking. I hate that I'm blanking on this too. I hate that I'm blanking on this. It was by this amazing company though. And he looked, it was like an undead pirate. It was like top notch. It was like top notch. Like I totally forgot what the company name is, and I hate that I'm forgetting it right now, but it's okay.
Straight out of Pirates of the Caribbean. One of
Yeah,
those.
Brad.
What was the first one with Barbossa's crew that was all like undead? You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you were at Midwest, you might have known who it was. I'm trying to Brandy Beast. That's what it was. Brandy Beast.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was a costume by Brandy Beast. There we go. Like that. That gives everybody a way better representation of what this costume was. It was a Brandy Beast costume, and everybody knows Brandy Beast costumes are like insane. Like they're not
Yeah.
like for real. They're top notch. They look absolutely insane. Um, but he was wearing that there, and I felt so bad for him because he like ended up overheating in that
Oh,
costume. He was only able to wear it for like a certain amount of time because he was like on the verge of passing out. The kid, I felt so bad. So, but it was such a good time though overall. Like it was such a eventful day. Like there's a bunch of shenanigans that we were doing and just being goofy. And I had my bag that I have like for Gugu too. So I was like offering, like I was fake selling everything, and I was like 50 shillings for this fake bag of maggots. And like I put on like the best accent. It was hilarious. Like I had the harmonica and I was just like sitting there in the corner playing it. Like people are like, what is wrong with it? Like people are getting pictures with me, and like I was actually like hired on by Ren Fair. It was the funniest thing ever because I just like fit in with it. It was goofy. It was so goofy though.
that's nothing different from when you're at the haunt and everybody wants a picture with you on the line. So you're like, yeah, I'm used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, no, it was hilarious. Like people were like coming up to me because I had the harmonica and everything, and they thought I was like a part of like one of like the boot like one of the places at Red Fair. And I'm like, no, man, I'm just here. I'm like, no, I'm just here, same as you. I'm like, it was a fun.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Well, okay, so my last question in this Voodoo Personalities segment. You've always got some fans coming to see you at the haunt, whether it's the review teams like Halloween Blast or Haunted House Chicago, or people from your personal life. What is it like when family and friends get a chance to come and visit you?
So, well, when it comes to my family, it's my mom and my brother in my family, and my mom won't walk through the haunt, nor will really my brother. They're way too afraid of it. My mom, at least, so she'll walk through it with the lights on, like and no actors inside of it, type thing. Like she, like at least the animatronics could be on and everything, but like she won't walk through it with actors because she just has like panic attacks, can't go through it. But when it comes to like just friends coming through, like you mentioned, friends, review teams, like people that I get to normally see, like even regular guests that I've got to know over the years, like who have like come through and everything, like multiple years. Like there's so many people you'd be surprised who come through for off-scene events just to not only like come and see like me as a person, but just everybody. Like they know everybody on a personal level, and it's really awesome to see that. But it's just it's awesome. Like whenever like friends come through a haunt team, like a review team, just even other haunters in general when they come through, like it always puts a smile on my face. Like it makes the night so much better because obviously over the time you will get crappy guests. It does happen. Like 100%, you'll get people who will bark in your face nonstop and be like, "What you gonna do about it, boy?" Like they'll get right up in your face and they don't care. Like and you like, all right, whatever. You just walk away. You don't pay any mind to that. Go on to the next set of people. But then those you see people like your friends or other haunters, and it just makes the night so much better because sometimes it gets you like if you're having a rough night, it gives you that little push to just keep on going because sometimes you will have those really rough nights where all the groups are relentless on you and you just you can't get too many scares and it's just people being mean. I was like it's about yeah, just, people just being mean, unfortunately. But yeah, I would say like friends, guests, like or friends and haunters that come through and all that. It makes the night so much better. It does. Like always keep coming, 100%. Like especially haunters, whenever they have time off of their haunt. I always recommend walking through another haunt, like 100%. I've done it for all the years prior that I've acted, like any nights that I've had off. Um, Even for off-season events that I was free, I went and walked through because it's just always fun to go support another haunt and show your appreciation and see people that you don't always get to see, like I said.
Yeah, we do a lot of that here with Voodoo. Our group will I mean we're really only open typically 12 days. I think this year we're going to try to do 14, but we're usually only open for about 2 weeks of the season. So
Oh,
all the rest of that time when we're either still building, we'll be like building during the daytime hours, and then as soon as that sun starts to go down, we're in the car and headed to whatever haunt we're or on the list, just so that we can maximize our time at seeing everything as well. But this year we're going to be pulling the Uno reverse card, and during our nights, like our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, any night, of course, is open. But I know for all the professional haunt actors, those are the busy nights. But anybody at any commercial haunts are welcome to come and guest act with Voodoo this year. So I'll be posting the schedule. I'll be reaching out to everybody. I'll be posting about it. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, you do get. I mean, we even get them here. You get that group, and I got them when I was at Disturbia. And I
Yep.
don't mean to stereotype anybody, but like the demographic is those teenage boys they just want to be know-it-alls. And I think the one asked me, he was like, "Oh, how much do you bench?" And I just looked at him in the Rivets character, because it was when I was there for Halloween, and the Rivets character. I forget what he asked, but like my comeback was, "Yeah, you look like you skip leg day." And then all of his friends were like, "Ooh," and I was like, "But he really does kind of look like a stork." So I mean,
Yeah, there you go, there you go. But unfortunately, like you do, like you said, you do get that everywhere. Like even when I was at House of Creeps at the home haunt, like we would get that consistently. And like you said, like it isn't. I mean, not meaning to stereotype, but it is a lot of those teenage boys. Like it kind of sucks because it's kind of my generation that's just putting a bad rep on it. Like it's bad. It does. Like my generation sucks, man. What can I say? I was like, my generation sucks, man. It's a bunch of teenage boys who have no respect and are not raised properly. I'm a point, but it's okay. Everybody, like, I can account that so many other haunters would say the same thing and be like, it's people who are just like don't care. They just don't care, and it sucks. It does 100%. But yeah, you do.
yeah.
But going back to what you were just saying, I wanted to ask you real quick with the guest acting part. So anybody can kind of come and guest act for, because I would love to come out, man. I just want to let you know. So 100%.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna open the door to anybody and everybody from every single haunt. So yeah, I will definitely get you the details and hit you up. And we're very much like Disturbia in the sense that we are like a hodgepodge of everything. So no matter what you come as, whether it's drags or any of the other characters, you're gonna look like you came from the show. We'll fit you in somehow. And then usually we're like on those weeknights. Because we're a home haunt, we're like 7 to 9. We don't go too much later to not disrupt the neighbors. So, we'll always, I don't know, maybe go out to eat after or whatever, or celebrate or whatever. So yeah, everybody's welcome. We're just trying to get as much of the community out by us, whether they want to walk through it or even just jump in and guest act with us. Either way, I'm super excited to open the doors and get everybody in here. And a lot of it has been through this podcast or through guest acting and MHC Trans World. So all the people that we've met, I mean, might as well just say, hey, come on by.
That would be awesome. Definitely. Like maybe there's a weekend that we can do where me and Chains could like even come out. That would be awesome. Like just like both of us like for a weekend. That would be super awesome. And anybody else who's coming out, that'd be sweet. I also saw that I think you did an interview with trying to it was Alex Wode and Tyler. I was gonna say, yeah. That
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, no, that was seriously awesome. I saw that interview and everything and how that went and all that. That'd be awesome if you could even have them come out for a weekend too. That'd be awesome. Just bring a bunch of people on, even if it's one weekend or separate weekends. That would be super super awesome. Just like have some people come out and everything, and we could all get some food after and all that, and be able to just talk about haunt stuff. That'd be sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. If it's a weekend, yeah, sure, but I don't want to steal anybody from their main haunts. I don't want the
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
the Senecers or the LaFlamboys coming after me for stealing their actors. But during the week works too. I mean, for here at Voodoo, we're probably gonna do like a gauntlet of like once it like hits the second half of October, it's gonna be like 14 days in a row, and we do pretty well on our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, even with it being weeknights, because I feel like there's a lot of people that think there's a lot of community people in Schaumburg that probably think it'll be less scary during the week. And it's like, it's just not the case. Like last year we did a bloodbath night. And of course we did give people still the option, like, do you want to be doused with blood? Like that is the promo tonight. And if they said no, then we'd go easy on them. I wouldn't be dumping a gallon of fake blood on them. But at the same time, it was drizzling that night, so I think most people that pulled up were wet to begin with, so they were like, yeah, sure, might as well. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun with it, and yeah, I'd love to. I mean, Alex and no, Tyler does work over here in Elgin already with Nightmare Forge. So even though they're haunting elsewhere, I mean they're still pretty local, and hopefully we can get them to come around the block and hang out with us. But yeah, we'll be pulling people from everywhere, man. The home haunters, the pro haunts, like anybody that wants to come out and act with us. Like for the most part, I think yeah, we'll be opening the doors. So I'm excited for that for sure.
Yeah,
It'll be
no,
our one final year at Vassar. I know I say that all the time, but like it finally has to be like the last year here at the house until we either get a facility ourselves or just figure something out, you know?
yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. But I was gonna say, like, definitely, Tyler though, going back to him, even at the Nightmare Forge, man, they've been doing some really, really awesome things. Like, 100%. I like that they're becoming all around company, and like that's kind of like their ultimate goal, and it's gonna provide, I think, really, really good outlet for haunters, like especially like just for people to pick up things like just basic necessities, because I know that they have like electrical stuff, wood stuff, like just they're all around. So it's going to definitely be awesome once like everything is 100% like fully like up and running. Because I from what I know, I think that they're still like getting everything fully in production. But even like from what I've seen at Transworld and Midwest and all that, it's like it's insane already what they've done. It's like it's awesome.
Yeah, you didn't make it out to Transworld this year, did you? I didn't
No,
see you.
no, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make a transfer this year, just due to like transportation issues, money issues as well. Just because the car stuff happened, that was kind of the biggest thing, the reason I couldn't make it. So I just got a bunch of other stuff going on in life, but I will be making it to Midwest 100% this year. I will be at Midwest. So
Heck yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, at Transworld though, the Nightmare Forge booth was incredible. I think they did release the little mini movie that they made, that little short film that you mentioned. Andrew Martingello, he was in it, as well as Danny Panic, and they did some great acting in that. But the booth itself, when you go into the little movie theater that they built, it was like a 4D movie. So it was putting together their acting skills from and filming skills from making the movie and directing as well. I mean, every facet in making a movie combined with every skill and technique that they use when they build things at Nightmare Forge in and of itself. So it was very cool. Tyler kind of showed me the inner workings of it, and I was like, man, like you can definitely do something with this, and not just sell it to other haunts, which I think is the majority of what Nightmare Forge has been doing, is making things for haunts and stuff like that, which is great, and it makes them money, and it keeps them afloat, and it keeps them alive in this haunt industry, which is what we want. But hey, you never know. Maybe they turn around and start creating their own haunted house or their own haunt, at least a small thing. I know that Tyler was even saying that he's going to be doing hopefully going to be doing some work with Nightmare on Chicago Street, which is always held in Elgin. I work with WRMN now, the radio station, and they're always broadcasting there. So hopefully I'll see Tyler there this year, and they might be doing something with that little pop-up haunted house that they do. It's just a small thing because this is more of like a street-wide party event rather than a haunt. But hey, to have that kind of haunt world skill on display would be super cool.
yep, no doubt, no doubt. And with I was gonna say, going back to that though, with the team they have, if they even open a haunt, man, that would be an awesome thing. I'm not gonna lie, like that's what I mean with like the team that they have on there. Like, hey, if they're listening and hearing this, you guys should open a haunt. That's all. I'm like, you guys should open a haunt too. I was like, there's a lot of stuff that comes into play with that 100%. But like you were saying though, that would be seriously awesome if that did happen in the future. That'd be awesome though, no doubt.
I think every major haunt in the area would be hurting then, because with the connections that Tyler and Alex both have, like everybody would want to come from their haunt to come and help them. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's just a monopoly for Nightmare Forge. um, Cody and I saw you, Slider Jesus. Cody and I saw you at halfway to Halloween last year at Old Joliet, and he was talking about how talented you were. I know as a slider, we kind of all look up to Slider Jesus. Have you had the chance to kind of bounce ideas off of him and talk with him a bunch throughout the years?
Yes, yeah, actually, Cody's I'm pretty close to Cody actually. He's a really, really, really amazing guy. Definitely 100%. The last time I actually got to talk with him was quite a while ago. I feel like just bouncing at least ideas off of each other. But other than that, yeah, like in prior times, I definitely did. Like he came and guest acted at Disturbia like once in a blue moon a while ago. And that was like the first time I got to meet him, which I was like freaking out. This is young Dylan at the time, like seeing this huge guy at our haunt. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Slider Jesus. I'm like fangirl and everything, like a little kid. It was funny. I was like 16 or something at the time. I was young. So um but no doubt, I've definitely gotten to talk with him a bit here and there. The gear that he makes is insane. Like it's definitely unlike anybody else's when it comes to how he does his clackers and everything. I don't want to give out his secrets or anything because, like, once again, I don't know which is not necessarily secrets. I'm sure if you asked him like straightforward, he would probably tell you 100%. But he has some really cool tricks up his sleeve, especially when it comes to the sandpaper that he has like all over his character, so that he's able to utilize his flint in various different ways. Like it's insane. It makes for such cool aspects. Like the fact that like what he did with his character is just super original, and that's the reason I definitely looked up to him. For the longest, I've looked up to him 100%, and just his character is insane. His character is insane. That's all I gotta say. His character is absolutely nuts, 100%. Like
The first time that we saw sandpaper done with flint rods and we started incorporating it here at Voodoo was at Midnight Terror. And we saw, I don't know who it was, but they were up on stilts and they just dragged their hand across a concrete wall. And my buddy Mark and I are looking at each other like, how the heck did he just spark on a concrete wall? And then we looked a little bit closer and there was black sandpaper on a black wall because it was kind of hidden. But we started incorporating that into our characters. We didn't have any slide gear at the time, but we had the flint rods. So we started incorporating that with our characters. And then on the walls of Voodoo or on the fence posts when you're waiting in line and stuff like that. However, as soon as I saw Slider Jesus and I was like, oh my God, he's got it on him. Like that's next level. That's intense. That is really cool. But yeah, like you said, I've asked him a couple of times, I'm like, how do you do this? And then like there was a couple of nights that I was guest acting at Hell's Gate, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "This is what it is," and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." So that was very cool. But yeah, no, he is very talented, and it's always nice to be able to talk with him. You mentioned being like a fanboy over him. It was actually Sneak from the Nightmare Haunted House out in Manuka. We were doing the Silent Night event over at Horror on Highland, and I think he was like fanboying so hard. He was like, "When is Slider Jesus getting here? When is he getting here? I was like, "Relax, like take a deep breath." I think the only reason I never really fanboyed was because like I had him on the podcast, and then I mean, we just talked like you and I are here, so it was like, yeah, he's just a
yeah,
guy, he's just a normal guy. But then, yeah, you do see him out in the field doing his job, and you're like, damn, he's good.
now like his pop-ups are insane, and the amount of flint that he has all around his character and the amount that he sparks is insane. So it definitely, like, even if you don't hear the guy or see him, like you'll see him coming. You will see him
Yeah,
coming 100%. But like going back to what you were saying, like you could even just like once again at your home on, like you were saying, like you incorporate the sandpaper on the walls and everything. You don't even need to do necessarily what he does when it comes to incorporating it with a glove. You could just take a flint rod and wear a cloth glove if you want to, and just scrape it against the sandpaper, and it'll still make for a pretty good effect. Because, like, I mean, obviously, as long as you're doing it in the right direction, not shooting into somebody's eye, you'll be fine. Like, but yeah,
the funny thing too is the same walls that we use for Voodoo are the same walls that I use for the when I build my ice rink. So this past year I made a video on it was a joint video, but I put it on the Rivets account, and I think I put it on the Voodoo podcast account as well. But I had the Rivets costume on to shoot pucks, and then like the sandpaper was still stapled onto one of the walls, which the guys that are just hockey and don't do the haunted house with us, they'll all come over and they're like, why do you have sandpaper on like the side of it? Or why does that one wood board say like Dead by Dawn? And I'm like, well, I mean, you know me at this point, you should understand why. But the sandpaper always throws them. And I was like, well, if the sandpaper is gonna be there, I might as well use it. So I dressed up as Rivets, and like after I took the shot, like it is, I will say that was the first time I tried putting the pads on and also having skates on, which I did tell I think it was on the episode with Nick Soralo. I was like, I want to try to skate and slide at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see. I don't exactly have an old pair of rollerblades here, so I'd have to like wait till I get my next ones. I don't want to ruin the ones I currently use to still play hockey, but yeah, I'd like to try that. But on the ice, it was a little bit, it was cool because like you could drop down. It was like falling down in hockey where like then you're on your knee pads or your shin pads as it is. But with the slider knee pads, it was like I was having a ball out there. But I'm like, I also don't really know how to stop. So, should probably just think hockey brain. Another thing too is like it was hard to hold the stick with the clacker gloves and the pucks on the palms, which I devised a system where I can pull the puck off now. Like I have it like strapped on and it works. So like I could take it off so that my palm is able to like grip stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even then, like it's clanky and like you're trying to do the stick and then the move I was trying to do, I was trying to put the stick between my legs and pick the puck up. Well, the pads on your knees are so big that I didn't have the normal room that I do. Like they're even bigger than hockey shin pads. So like usually I'm able to do it in hockey, but like even this, I was like I can't do it. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say actually going back to the hockey thing, you seem super talented at it. By the way, I've seen that video of you dressed up. Dude, I don't know how you do some of those shots and like what you do. I get because I trust me, I can never, I can never. Going back to the rollerblade thing with trying it with pads, I've already tried that actually. It's a bit sketchy. Reason I would say not to necessarily do it is number one, you can't really pop up and like the pop up, like you said, there's kind of no room for stopping other than widening your feet and having your wheels kind of just scrape like how you would do like a classic hockey stop in a way.
Yeah.
And then number two is like it's just not like very practical because whenever if you go too low with the blades, you start to just scrape the front of your boot. Because I don't play like hockey or anything, but I rollerblade like nonstop. Like I actually have a rollerblading character that I do during the summer event. I don't know if you've seen him. His name's just it's just fast. His name's just fast. I wear like some crazy trip New York City looking pants if you know what those are, and then I wear just some rollerblades and like a taxi cap kind of like a taxi cap like old school Irish, like a flat cap. And then I'm just skating around everywhere, making like funny jokes and everything. And I'm like, I bet you I'll beat you in roller derby, like all this, like the most random stuff. It's so funny. I'm just saying the most random things, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I honestly I want to say now that I know that it's you, I think that was where I kind of drew inspiration is I probably went to the Summer Screams event and saw somebody on rollerblades and was like, I want to do that. But yeah, you're not wrong. That those are all the things that I have thought of and I'm like, yeah, like it just wouldn't until I devise a safer and safer for myself and the customer and of course fellow actors. Until I can devise a safer way to do that, I'm gonna keep that one just in the think tank. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned roller derby because we just had on the January episode Carly Craig, who is Ghoulie over at Hell's Gate, and she used to actually be in roller derby. So I wonder if, well, Hell's Gate doesn't really have the room for it over there, but I wonder if she was to guest act elsewhere, if she'd maybe bust out a roller derby-esque character.
Yeah, that I was gonna say that'd be sick if she like I was gonna say if she ever came to guest act with us at Disturbia, we could both break out those characters and that'd be awesome to just do like a little like a duo thing. That'd be awesome. That'd be sweet. Yeah, because I've heard that like she is insane on I think I think I don't know if she does rollerblades or quads though. Is it quads? Do you know?
She does, yeah, it's the roller skate. So she's not on an inline track, but she does, although for roller, well, yeah, no, for roller derby, I believe it's the same. I don't think you have the inlines for roller derby as well.
Quads, yeah,
So,
definitely. I think it's quads, but yeah, no, that would seriously be awesome though. And it's funny because we have that little Jeep if you know at Disturbia. We have like a little Jeep that goes like 20, 25 miles an hour, maybe a little bit quicker. And we just drive it in and out of the parking lot through the line, like kind of all over the place, or at least to the point where we can without David and Sarah being like, "Hey, bring it in! You guys are going too far." And it's so funny whenever we do that. It's hilarious. It's like, oh no, we're getting yelled at by mom and dad. It's like it's so funny. It's so funny. But whatchamacallit? When I would do that character during the summer event, I would hang on to the back of that in the rollerblades, and we were gunning it like we would go like 20, 25 miles an hour through the parking lot, like down the straight line. And I'm flying on the back of the thing. making sure that if I hit a rock, man, I'm gonna just eat it. I'm gonna just go down hard. Like I know I'm gonna, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and people are like freaking out. Like the cars that are pulling up and everything and parking up, they're like, dude, that guy just went flying fast on his rollerblades, like hanging on the back. And then we have somebody who had a beer cooler. It was Tom who had a beer cooler cart, and I would hitch on the back of that, like kind of like snow, like I don't know how to put it, like we had a rope attached to it though, and I would like have to like almost like kind of like snowboard style in a way. I don't even know how to
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know how to put it, but like I would hold on to the rope like all the way back. And like I'm like pretty far back with this rope, and we're still flying like 25 miles an hour, and I'm like bobbing left and right. So when he like the rope goes, I'm farther out, so the rope's leading with it. Like it was crazy. It was crazy though.
yeah, like those the snowboarding videos that you've seen of like people that are in Chicago that are snowboarding on the streets while their buddy drives the car and they're just off the back, or like water skiing, or yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yep.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Well, one final one for you here. I know that like you said, you've kind of stepped away from haunting during these past couple of months, but have you given any thought to drags for this next year and what you maybe want to improve upon, whether that is the costume, scare technique, or even something else coming up for the events that you'll be at?
So I have 100%. I do have some ideas for him this upcoming season. I definitely want to add probably a little bit more accessories to him because he is going to be the character that I'm primarily going to be doing. I would say this season, probably him, and then Gugu on maybe some warmer Halloween days, and then Bubby on the colder nights. I also have a character named Billy that I just recently introduced. He's like a demented schoolboy kind of character. I didn't bring him upstairs to show you guys, but he's really cool. You can check him out on my Instagram page. He but I want to add accessories to drags, definitely 100%. Like accessories being just like trinkets hanging off them. You know what I mean? I could always add more because he doesn't have too many right now because I've kind of lost some over the season because some pieces have just gone like flying everywhere from doing whatever, like doing some crazy stuff outside in the outside line. Um, but at this point, I need to definitely pick up some more accessories for him, and then I would like to get some more props for him because I have gas cans, as you know, multiple different ones. I have a military grade one that Gidget actually from our haunt, Bill Gidget from our haunt. Yeah, he goes by Gidget at our haunt. Definitely check his stuff out. He's awesome as well. But he gave me like this military grade gas can. It was like as a present. It was amazing though, and it's like huge, and I still get to use that thing, and I love it. But it's slowly but surely becoming dented and more like more and more and more. So I'm gonna pick up some props probably at Midwest. Um, Either at Midwest or I also go to a lot of like farm and fleet markets or if you know Volo Auto Museum, they have see here's my issue. I'm putting out where I go for my stuff and now watch every single haunter's gonna flock over there and take everything. I go to Volo Auto Museum though. There's a antique store there that's like 5 stories. If you go into the upper parts of the antique store, this is to all my haunters, you will find the most amazing finds, props, and just old rusty farm equipment and like scary stuff. I was like scary stuff, like old rusty farm equipment and crazy stuff, definitely. But yeah, I need more props and accessories. So that's the plan at least. Other than that, I'm gonna keep him pretty much the same. I need to make a new pair of pants for him probably, but other than that, just new pair of pants, accessories, just dress the pants up, all that kind of stuff, and props.
Very nice. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. I'm hopefully nobody steals your secret spots and you'll still find what you need. But yeah, no, I always love to see the evolution of these characters, especially such a notable one like Drags. Where can people find you on like Instagram, and where are you at social media wise if they want to connect
Uh,
with you?
so my Instagram is you can just look me up as drags. It should pop up right away. It usually pops up. I'm pretty sure I might have like an underscore or two in there. I'm not 100% sure. I'll probably end up sending you this after all this. If anything, I can send you any information. But It's drags on Instagram as well and drags on TikTok as well. So just Instagram and TikTok is all I really have and function on. I'm not really much on TikTok. I'm more on on the Instagram side. So if you ever want to shoot me a DM, want me to come guest act somewhere, hit me up, 100%. But yeah, it's just Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, for the most part. But yeah, those are my hands.
Sweet, yeah, and I'll have those in here for everybody to see because I know I got you on Instagram. I'm not much on the on the TikTok, the talk tick for
Yeah,
these young no.
yeah, me
But
neither. I know these youngins, right? Right. Tell them about it, Mike. I'm telling you. Yeah, there you go.
yeah, yeah. So well, this has been great, man. Thank you so much. Is there anything I missed? Anything you want to give a shout out to or plug before we go?
Not necessarily like any shout outs. I kind of already did the shout outs I needed to, like Chains, Nathan, all the people, Luke, shout out Luke as well too with his amazing makeup that he does at Disturbia. I wanted to shout him out. Rachel as well. I'm trying to think who else. Yeah, no, I was like, I think that clarifies about everybody. Oh, Birdie as well. Birdie and Randy, love them. They're the makeup artists from Basement. They come and do makeup at Disturbia as well. They're two amazing people. But other than that, no, I think we covered everything. I love the questions you had for me. I just wanted to say that at the very. I love the questions that you had. They put smiles like on my faces right away. So thank you again, seriously, for having me though, Mike. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, and we will see you out at Disturbia, and we will talk to you. We'll see you at MHC before that, but we will,
Yeah,
of course, talk to you very soon.
yeah, we got to get the Gabagool, right? We're gonna get
The
the
gabagool. What do you want? I they didn't finish my chicken palm from the other night, so you know.
yeah. The meat that I almost choked on and died last week. You know what I mean? Yeah, the frozen dude. When you gave me that, the frozen meatball sub. Sorry, I got to put that at the end. That was crazy. That was wild. It was like frozen, man. I bit into it. I swallowed that thing. You're a wild man. You are a wild man.
For the podcast listeners who have no clue what's going on, last episode we had Alex and Tyler on, and Sharky was saying that she was headed over to Disturbia for the night, and she was mentioning how she's Italian, and I was like, oh, so you're gonna hate me tonight because I'm also Italian, and so is my character tonight. So yeah, I had chicken parm the one night walking around with that, and then I had a meatball sub the other night, and every customer, but even the actors that we were working with, because even the people who had done my makeup, like Birdie and stuff like that, they were like, "Where did you get that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just had it with me."
No, I swear, excuse my language, guys, but like I swear Mike just pulled it out of his ass. It came out of nowhere. It just appeared. It just appeared like straight up. Like he was in the line and he came up to me randomly and he's like, "Hey, take a bite out of this." And I had to break character for a second. I'm like, what the hell is it? And he's meatball sub, just take a bite out of it. And it's frozen, dude. I'm like, what, dude? It was wild. It was wild. It was funny.
I was pulling the meatballs themselves out of somewhere else, you know. But
Yeah,
even even Tyler Booth was he put the meatball sub in front of that heater, that like jet heater that Disturbia has, and somebody was like, "Why would you do that? That's definitely carcinogenic." And I was like, we probably all got something coming anyways, so take another bite." It warmed it up. It was good.
that's hilarious. I love that. That was classic.
So, all right, buddy. We will talk to you soon, and take care.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. All right, before I let you go for March, I have one final announcement that is super, super important. You'll see with me are two recurring guests, but they were not on when we had video on this podcast. So please welcome back to the podcast Julia Treni, Voodoo on Vassar's very own, and Hell's Gate's very own Caleb Wimbush. They are both a part of the Triton Troopers Circus, as we've talked about. I think more so with Caleb. I don't know if we've touched upon it too much with Julia, but they have four very important shows coming up, or is it five this year?
It's five.
All right. I will let the man himself take it away. Caleb, let us know when these shows are and what you guys got going on.
All right, Triton Trooper Circus, the 52nd year that our show has put on an amazing, great, that's our logo right there, right behind our boy Mike.
52.
So opening day is 7 o'clock. It's a Thursday, April the 10th. Then it's April 11th at 7, April 12th at 1, and at 7 o'clock. And then we have our additional new show to the roster, Sunday matinee show at 1 o'clock. Correct, Julia?
Yes, that is. We we have been selling out the last couple of years, so by popular demand, we had to add a fifth show. But luckily, it is a matinee, which I think a lot of our patrons enjoy the matinee shows a lot more than having to come deal with the traffic after work and whatnot. But yeah, that's when a lot
Yeah,
of shows come too.
the Sunday show is inevitable. It was going to happen the way that the troopers have been working and advertising ourselves and getting the word out there. Hey, this is as easy as getting a ticket to a circus is. Here it is. And there's barcodes. You can go online, TritonTrooperCircus.com, and you can figure out how to get tickets on there. It's on the website. If you see a flyer, it's got a barcode on it that brings you right to where you buy tickets. It's $10. Everybody's $10 tickets. And concessions are $1. Bring your cash.
Awesome. Yeah, I will post the links to buy tickets in here, both on the Spotify and Apple Podcast link, and then also on the YouTube as well. So if you're listening or watching, you have that information. You can type it in and go check it out. I will be volunteering. I don't know which days I signed up to volunteer. I got to go take a look at that form, but I know I'll be there in attendance, but I'll also be volunteering. So,
we got to give Mike, you're the hostess with the mostest, but I got to give you credit because Mike actually came out this year and played around with us at practice during our rehearsal periods.
Yes,
And,
yeah. And he was a natural on the teeter board.
He really was. He really was.
So, like, that is one of the hardest apparatuses to learn. And I've been the biggest preacher of, you guys have no idea how cross training actually does translate. And he was able to do that and lock his legs in the perfect way because of your experience from how you have to lock your legs in your hockey skates.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of the same muscles that you're kind of pushing off with, and I think going to the gym helps too, because like where to lock and where not to lock. So yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. That was thanks to both
athletics.
of you.
Yeah, I mean, you get on the trampoline too. You're keeping up with everybody. You're doing your thing, man. Yeah, so you got to be athletic to do some of the stuff that we got going on in this gym, and that's why you guys got to come check it out. It's kind of hard to put in words what we do in that gym, but we make it happen. It's going to be a great show this year.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was right after we interviewed Carly that Grace and I came out to get a chance to play around. So I had just fallen down the stairs and may have sort of re-injured myself, but I don't know. No, it was anything.
That was so funny.
I did that first flip with you during the trampoline stuff, and I was like, "Yep, there's the arm again. I feel it."
Dude, I can still hear the video in my memory. I can hear you falling down the stairs.
Best part about this is how you recovered and how you were such a great sport about it. And I don't know if in previous podcasts, if you and Carly and you and Caleb have talked about that, but injuries is such a common thing, unfortunately, in circus. And I was one of them. Second year performing, second year in a row getting an injury while practicing, but it all depends on how you respond because especially if you're in a leadership position, a lot of people who are new to our circus all learn by like what other people are exemplifying. So it's a lot of like learning and leading by example. So the fact that you were able to get out there and show people like, hey, like this is something that we can still do while, making adjustments for the injury. And then, someone like me, injury during practice and then still having to go through and recover, it shows people that there's so many things other than just practice that goes into a performance aspect. And this goes with haunted house and home haunts as well. There's a lot just the physical performance you have to talk about and actually like make sure you're recovering your mental and your emotional well-being because it all encompasses into one aspect of performance.
Yeah, and you're back this year, Julia. So tell us a little bit about, without spoiling too much, what you're going to be doing.
I'll be tumbling a lot. and I will be up in the air a lot. I can go into a little bit more detail, but I don't really want to spoil too much because I'm very, very excited. So I did take a year off last year, going back to talking about mental health. That's exactly why I took a week off. But just like you, Mike, I volunteered. I was there show week. For those listeners who don't know, the entire production is put on by the entire cast, minus the lighting and sound. So without people like Mike who come during show week and help us put together the entire show, it wouldn't be possible. So I was fortunate enough to take a step back and kind of like absorb things in as just a volunteer. But that really gave me a lot of energy to come like full spring ahead this year. I am actually leading 2 acts this year, which is a huge commitment, but I've been able to do it by really, really establishing hard boundaries right away for all of my participants that, again, it's all about mental health and emotional well-being in addition to how hard we're pushing ourselves. We only have so much time to get a show together, so we have to make sure we're at like anywhere between 80 and 100% so that we are not pushing ourselves too hard. We're not doing more than our bodies and our minds are capable of. Um, just doing what we can accomplish and the skills that are kind of in our basket to make the best show possible. So I'm very excited to have the audience see what I've come up with and what my
Yeah.
girls and my other participants have learned. I think a lot of them feel a lot of passion about the hard work that they've put in. I really can't say a lot about the other groups because the way our structure has been this year, it's been a lot of hard work and devotion to just our specific acts. And if everybody else has been working as hard as all of my participants have been, it's going to be a really magical and wonderful show. And I'm very excited for everybody to see it.
Yeah,
That's
I'm really
awesome.
excited for it to come together.
You're too kind.
Yeah.
I just stood there with a flashlight. That's all.
No, you were great, Mike. It was great. Like it's kind of like one of those things. Like we're all volunteers at this show, and so it's just our friends putting on a circus, basically, and Hannah has to take, as the director, has to do the professional like stuff, and it's like a job, but she's volunteered too. It's like we're all volunteering to put this show on, so we might as well make some good friends and then invite our friends to come do it with us and stuff. So it's like it's a cool, like when I'm running around during the show and running into you and being like, Mike, like, hey, how you liking the show? Oh man, it's great, man. And you
Yeah.
usher people around. It's just fun, and it's like Julia said, like we're very passionate about the acts that we're creating. It's our artwork. It's what we like put our time and effort and mental time and training our bodies and trying to get ready to pressure yourself for 5 shows back to back to back to back. We get 2 nights of sleep in between those 5 shows. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 good nights of sleep, if anything. You know, so it's gonna be a lot, and so we're gonna really need each other and support each other, and that's where everybody's acts become fluent. Right now, it's very like, okay, this is this act, this is this act, and we've all seen it individually, but flowing all together to become this big, great, amazing show is going to be interesting. It's going to be come down to a science, as they say.
Very much so.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to be back this year and see what you guys have in store. I wore the 50th anniversary shirt, same as Caleb, just because I fit like the gold fit the Vegas theme a little bit better. But 51 was aliens, and it's March, so green. So I threw the green horns on. So we're kind of encompassing everything leading up to this number 52. I was kind of hoping that we would have Carly here, although she's tied up with some other priorities, because I wanted to hear, I think she's a little bit more connected with the haunt world during the off season. I wanted to see who from the haunt world is coming. Caleb, do you know of anybody that's going to make it out for I don't know, Hell's Gate or anywhere else?
Uh, Meaning, I'm sorry, guess I confused what you asked. Are you asking who's gonna make it out from Hell's Gate to the show?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or be participating in the show. I know there's a number of you that are
There
crossover
is
from the haunt world.
there is a couple, but Carly's one of those main ones. She's the first person I was like, hey, I do this circus, and she came and she rocked it, and we've been putting, like I said, I invited my friend, and now we do this circus together, and so that's what makes it like so awesome to me. But like Derek, who runs Hell's Gate, basically, is grounds and everything, takes care of the whole place, and he takes care of our show too. He's backstage management, and so he takes care of how props move and where they go and things like that. And he also is flying around a little bit too, so it's really cool. And he's obviously inviting his friends too. So, and he knows a lot of those, all kinds of haunt people and stuff like that. So I have no idea, it's kind of uncontrollable at this point. I remember there's years when I was begging people to come, like, come on, my friends, I want you guys all to come and fill up a bleacher, and like everybody be, and now it's like, I don't want to invite, too many people because they might not get in. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
true.
a show where it's like, if they show up, I'll be surprised to see them and I'll give them a show. I'm ready for anybody.
It's a good problem to have, though, and it's a reminder to get your tickets early because you don't want to be stuck at the front door when a show sells out and have to. I mean, there are 5 different shows, so if you were at a matinee, like you could always wait till the evening one, but if you made the trek out, you might as well get in when you wanted to. So jump on that early, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. It's that's why we had to make it so you can buy them ahead of time and not at the door. Because that's when I first joined, that was cash only at the door, $6 a ticket. Like it was like, and it was in, like I said, times were different. Our advertisement was literally a flyer. Like you had to like look at the flyer and read it to like know that it was even happening. Now it's so big, it's kind of crazy. It's overwhelming, and we have a lot of new performers this year who a lot of them have never performed before, and at this capacity of show, we are an amateur circus, but we put on this professional looking show. It's kind of it's just it's everybody should want to come. It's great. It was kind of like a secret before, and now it's like everybody. It's great. I can go
It,
on and on. I love this show.
I know.
That's
I remember
awesome.
I used to say all the time that we are like Chicagoland suburbs' best kept secret. Like people
Yeah,
I would be like, I went to Triton College and I had no idea there was a circus, even though we're technically
yeah,
a continuing education, like actual class associated with the college. But Caleb's right. It really is the social media aspect has really helped us grow so much, and not
mhm,
just in terms of audience members, but participants as well. We have actually a large number of performers this year that have never seen the show despite us existing for 52 years. So it's
yeah.
incredible that like it just by word of mouth as well. The circus community is incredibly niche, and especially like as you get into the smaller towns and cities, it gets even more unheard of. But the way that the Chicagoland like circus group in general has just exploded after COVID because people they needed something new. We were stuck in our homes for so long, not doing anything, and for me personally, that's when I started my circus journey. I grew up, I was one of those patrons watching the show for years and years and years and years and years, coming to watch family members perform in this show. I was one of those little kids in the audience saying, I want to do that. That looks so cool. I can't wait to do that. So after COVID, I thought, okay, what's something that I can do? And I'm sure so is everybody else who joined the circus community that time afterwards. And um, right now, not to get a little bit dark, but there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. So I've been preaching to everybody that community means more than anything. And Caleb mentioned, yes, we are an amateur circus. That's 100% true. But I'd add to that that we are a community circus. There was actually this wonderful, scary, but wonderful moment that happened at our last practice. We were getting really close
Oh,
to
yeah.
so we had 2 sides of the gym. We had one of our aerial apparatuses up high with 2 performers, and on the other side of the gym we had another. It's an aerial apparatus, but it's one that looks different. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody who's going to see the show, but it involves stacking and climbing. We
People
had
are really high up in lines,
very high
and
up.
so they're dangerously high.
Yes. We were all practicing. All of a sudden, Power goes out in the entire building. Everybody kind of went, whoa, for 2 seconds, but it was this beautiful moment where everybody came together. All of a sudden, everybody put their flashlights on. It was just, everybody knew what to do. And it was just so beautiful. We all helped everybody come down safely. Nobody panicked. Nobody was injured. And we all ended up having this amazing impromptu bonding experience that got all of us together and kind of like just reestablished the reason why we do what we do. Like it's
Yeah.
things like this that
It was
just
a cool moment. It was a really, really cool moment. And, you know, the lights never came back on. So we had to put away the circus in the dark. So it was really just, and everybody was just like, it gave me hope just for the newbies mixing with the people that know what's going on, people that have never seen the show. They're just going to know what to do. It's just good instinct. And I think that's kind of the part of the magic of it all is that we're all strangers. In the end, we're all different people. And we all were just like, oh, snap. Like, there are people in the sky. Like, lights up, you know? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
I saw a lot of that from your story, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy that that even happened. So, good on you guys for being able to do that. Because, like you said, like if it comes down to actual show night and something goes awry and you have to fix it on the fly, that is, I mean, that's what you got to do. The show's
Yeah.
got to go on. So. I wanted to address the elephant in the room is that Julia does not live in a car. She's just cat sitting right now. So you saw the cat if you're watching a little while ago. Um, there's two of them. Aw, look at that guy.
the girly.
I wish I had a cat.
Aw.
Aw.
Girls.
So,
They are not performing circus cats.
yeah, they're not going to be in the show.
We don't have animals in the show.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true. Just
have
people.
real live animals in this show.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Interesting.
it will get wild, let's just say.
Okay. All right.
It's going
All
to be
right. I'm
fun.
trying to think with that Vegas theme. All right. I get you. All right. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, there's going to be magic, there's going to be dancing, there's going to be singing, there's going to be all types of uh, just great stunts and tricks and jokes and laughs and claps and a lot of cotton candy.
All right. You sold me. I'm in.
Dude, do you know what nights you're gonna be out there?
I think we're coming through on Thursday. I don't know if that's
Cool.
just to view, and then I signed up for 2 days. One of them might have been Thursday. I might be volunteering Thursday, which is fine. Everybody's going to be there anyways. And then
Yeah.
one of the other days, my weekend's a little bit hectic with broadcasting that weekend, but
Okay.
I'm making out to at least two more shows, so that should be good. And then yeah, we'll get to see. I don't think I'll be there on the Sunday. To close it out with you guys. But
That's
I'll
all
be
right.
there.
We'll have it handled by then. Thursday is a great day.
Yeah.
I would say that Thursday would be a great day to like volunteer because it's gonna be kind of crazy that first day, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I did the Thursday last year with you guys, and that was a lot of fun though. That was good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Thanks for volunteering and helping out, Mike. I know you're a
Nah.
busy man, you know. Always got a mic in your hand, either a mic or a hockey stick.
yeah, not a problem. I'm happy to come and hang out with you guys. And for those of you that hadn't heard of the circus and you're tuning in because you're Haunt World, make it out. You have nothing going on that weekend, I know, because the only April or Easter haunt is the next weekend at Basement of the Dead. It's the 18th and 19th. So get your tickets to that as well. That is
man.
Basement of the Dead in Aurora for their Easter haunt. You know what? Massacre had to stop doing their Easter haunt, but I have to check to see if there are any others out there. Message me, let me know. I don't think the April episode will come out beforehand, which is why we're doing this now. But we will make sure that those get their props as well. Maybe I'll just repost on the Voodoo podcast account for all the other April haunts. But so far, all I know is that it's Basement of the Dead. So that means your weekend of the 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, 13 is open to head on over to Circus. Guys, any last minute messages or things that we may have missed that you want to let the fans know before they come out to see the show?
Get ready to clap. Get ready to have a good time. Get ready to see something great. get ready to meet some really cool people. And yeah, it's going to be a great show, and I can't wait to see it myself.
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be absolutely phenomenal. My favorite descriptor word is always it's a giant labor of love, especially since everything is voluntary. And for those of you in the audience listening to this podcast right now, if you yourselves are interested in joining the circus, but you're kind of on the fence, come volunteer for a show week. It is the best way to see the show for free. It is the best way to get to know kind of the dynamics before you full send yourself into a season in the next year. But you also just kind of get to really see firsthand like how much passion goes into it with the rest of the cast members. We have cast members that quite literally only come to volunteer show week, and they've been doing it for years. So even if you are not the type of person who wants to be involved with performing, but you want to be a part of something in a community that is so great and so passionate, and come volunteer. It's the best way to see the show for free and kind of see and check it out and what it's all about. And you'll get to interact with these amazing, amazing people that we've gotten to know.
That sounds like me. That's me.
Yeah,
Just on show
exactly.
week. There we go.
That is.
I am excited. Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to come and be a part of it with you guys. And, you know, the behind the scenes of this is Caleb actually called me one night, and I already had the idea to do this. I don't know if I ran it by you, Julia, but I was like, I'm going to get Caleb on to talk about Triton Troopers, and we're going to have Julia and Carly secretly in the Zoom waiting room. And then boom, next thing you know, hey Caleb, by the way. But then Caleb he called me, he was like, hey, we should promote it. He had the same idea as me. So I'm glad we got a chance to jump on here and preview it for you guys. And I'm excited to just join the circus and see the show.
Yeah, come run away with the circus with us, man. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be amazing. It always is.
Perfect. All right, guys. I will see you soon. Thank you again for jumping on. For all the listeners, thank you. This has been the March episode. I will talk to you all in April with hopefully another Haunters hack and some more haunt information as we get closer towards halfway to Halloween, Summerween, and of course that means MHC as well. I'll see both of you at MHC, I think. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
So, all right, guys, have a good one and break a leg. Don't actually.
Thanks,
but,
man.
You know, showbiz, right?
I'll see you there, Mike.
All right, see you guys.